welcome back everyone, welcome back to the final day here, the final day of the LiuLi Cup 2025 Grand Finals playoffs. We have made it, we are here. I'm of course your host LiuLi, with whom I'm joined by these amazing players and by the people in the chat as well. Welcome one and all. We are here, we are back, and it's been a very intense week of StarCraft, going through the group stage of LiuLi Cup and going through the playoffs as well, and now we're here to crown our champion. Let's go as we can switch things over and catch up on the bracket itself. Again, if you've missed out on the previous group stage and on the playoffs, I do highly recommend the VODs. We've had some amazing games, some amazing matches, some high profile back and forths until this moment, of course, until the final day. Catching up when it comes to the bracket overall, we had Maru, he took down Clem 3-2. Again, that was still the highlight of day one. Clem versus Maru. We finally got them after years. They finally played and we got what we wanted. We had an ace match. We went all the way to the ace match. That could have gone either way. Maru barely took down Clem 3-2, then had a stronger showing against Reynor, if you recall, non-stop macro late game in that semifinals match until making it to the grand finals. Meanwhile, Serral, he himself also had his own road to the finals, taking down Beyond 3-1 and Rogue 3-0 as well. So we do have our two finalists, Maru versus Serral. But before the grand finals, it is time for the bronze match, the third place match here. As you can see, there's still money on the line for Reynor and for Rogue. It's a little bit less in line, of course, as they cannot progress further in the tournaments and progress further in towards the finals. But regardless, there is still money on the line, and we're here to cover that bronze match. So it's going to be first a bronze match followed by the grand finals thereafter. It's going to be a best of 5 between Reynor and Rogue. It will be a best of 7 between Maru and Serral. Also a big shout out to LiuLi. For those who do not know, LiuLi is Saber. LiuLi is the main organizer and Chinese caster of this event, bringing this all together, has been hosting LiuLi Cups throughout the course of 2025 and now leading into, of course, the end of year grand finals, which is just now taking place. Oh boy. Likewise, we're finally catching up. If you recall, because January was so busy, or because we were so unavailable in January, we actually had to catch up on a bunch of tournaments, on Rongi Cup, on Thunderfire, on Homestory Cup. We were able to catch up on all those events, and now we're here catching up with LiuLi Cup just in time for RSL, right? RSL did begin this week, the rival StarCraft League, and of course we'll be covering the playoffs of the RSL as well. We won't be covering the group stage though. The group stage, you know, the main casters they got you covered there. We'll be there for the playoffs though. That'll be in a couple of weeks. But we're actually catching up, and let's go, let's jump on in. Up first, we do have our ZVZ Reynor versus Rogue. Game 1 is going to be on Ruby Rock. Jumping into game 1, just catching up in the chat. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Ruby Rock, we have the Italian Zerg player. We have the blue Zerg representing Basilisk. It is Reynor. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Zerg player, the South Korean Zerg representing Team Falcons. It is Rogue. Here we go. We found ourselves another ZVZ. Now, if you were here yesterday, you would have seen us covering Rogue versus Serral, and Rogue was hyper aggressive. I mean, so was Serral. Serral, he also had his own all-ins, but Rogue, he was very much so in the face of Serral, looking to end the game, looking to kill early on and catch Serral off guard with a bunch of all-ins and some cheekier builds. I'm sure that Reynor was also watching, right? I'm sure he was also paying attention. I'm sure he even spoke to Serral thereafter as well, kind of discussing some of those games, as of course they are good friends. So we'll see if Rogue has something different up his sleeve, and I'm sure he does. Like, Rogue can be a very versatile and very chaotic player in ZVZ. Just because we saw him at SF5 previously doesn't mean he's going to do the same build again. It's going to be up to Reynor to keep up. Now, Reynor, similar to Serral, also is hyper aggressive in ZVZ. We mentioned this previously, but Serral, this kind of nature, or this perception of Serral being like nothing but a macro machine, that was the case years ago. But nowadays, especially in ZVZ, Serral is willing to be more aggressive and cheesy and all in. I can say the same for Reynor as well. Oh boy. Can say the same. Again, they're both very strong players in their own rights. They're both very close in skill. Again, we did see Reynor almost defeat Serral and ZVZ back in EWC at home at the Esports World Cup. That was, of course, a couple of months ago. We'll see how they compare this time. Just setting up the title. From here so far, hatch gas pool, right? Hatch gas pool, standard openers out of both players. We can see here that Rogue does pull out a gas. Likewise, Reynor does pull out as well. Okay, so everything's looking as it should be. Everything's looking normal. If you recall, in the previous ZVZ, there were some indications of earlier aggression, whereas we had some people pulling out a gas a little bit harder or staying in gas. Staying in gas would be indicative of a roach rush or a bane bust. Pulling out even further off of gas would be indicative of a Ling flood. But so far we're 2-2, so everything's looking normal, everything's looking standard. Rogue does expand here towards his opponent, so does Reynor. And welcome to Re-Rock. Welcome to Re-Rock. Re-Rock is one of the smaller maps in the map pool. Aggression is favored, the shorter rush distance by ground, so from here we can be more assertive coming in towards the mid game, assuming we do skip the Ling Bane phase, or we just go into Ling Bane then into roaches. Here come the Bane Nest for both players, and we'll see if anyone commits into a Ling flood. Who commits? Back, you commits. EWC was so close to. I mean, I'll be honest, EWC should have been Reynor winning. Like, to be honest, like, even he said it himself, like, he just got overconfident, he made some mistakes, like, in some of the more crucial moments. Like EWC was so heartbreaking for Reynor. It was like, feels bad, man, feels bad. For now though, speaking of early rushes and early aggression, early Roach Warren. So Reynor is going to commit early on. Roach Warren has been thrown down. He's going for the all-in. He's going for the all-in. Meanwhile, Rogue is playing standard so far. Rogue is droning. Ooh, Rogue is droning. Rogue is saturating. Rogue is another way. He's still making more drones. He is making some safety banelings, which is nice, and that's going to be great against Ling Bane, but not so much against roaches. Checking Rogue's vision, he did not get into the main, he did not get a further Ling Scut into the bases. Rogue is playing blind. He's going for his own standard Roach Warren timing instead, and we'll see if Reynor can break through. We'll see. Oh, he scouts! Big scout. Big moment here. The Ling does slip in. Reynor out of position. Yeah, Reynor was out of position. He does move out across the map, surrounds the queen. Not bad. Queen does fall. Banelings, they turn away the Zerglings. Going for the other queen. Oh my god. It does go in, and nice connections here by Reynor. Breaks into the main, he's got one Baneling left. Yeah, what a mass pappy, baits out the Baneling. And that's going to be 4 more workers. And remember, behind this, we can start making roaches, but Reynor knows he's been scouted, and Reynor drones. Okay, so very nice damage here by Reynor, getting 10. Oh, he wants a queen. He gets it. The second queen goes down. Ay, ay, ay. GG. And Reynor, without even needing to use his Roach Warren, Reynor, he does deal critical damage, wins game number 1. GG. Ay, ay, ay. GG, well played. Again, Reynor, he was building up towards this Roach Warren, building up into a Roach all-in, and getting ready for his aggression. Before that even happened, he was able to find some damage early on with some Ling Bane. Not even that much, by the way, but a reason why this dealt so much damage was that Rogue was droning, if you recall. We were pointing that out. Rogue was droning quite heavily. He had less to defend, but he was outpositioned, right? Like, he had the tools to defend. I should emphasize that. He had his Banelings. Despite that, Queen got surrounded. Lings, they slipped by the Banelings. We had Reynor with his own connections and surrounded another Queen. GG. GG, well played. With that, Reynor takes the lead in the series. Now we're going to be loading into game number 2, and we'll see if Rogue can bounce back and recover. That was a very intense early game, but remember, that map does favor that kind of intensity. As we load into larger maps, that's where you can be a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more calm, cool, collected, and build up into your own game state. And here we go. Up next, going to be loading into Celestial Enclave. This is the most macro map in the map pool, and we can even go for something like a gasless opener. We'll get into it. We'll see if anyone takes the bait. Spawning in the top right-hand corner of Celestial Enclave, we have the Italian Zerg player. We have the blue Zerg representing Basilisk. Leading the series 1-0, it is Reynor. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, here we have the South Green Zerg player. We have the red Zerg representing Team Falcons. It is Rogue. We go, and loading into Celestial Enclave, there's a very unique feature here, and that is the pocket expansion. You have a free base here on the left hand side, which can be taken as a natural, as a third, as a fourth base. Likewise, we have our standard natural base here on the right hand side as well. Now, what's important isn't just that there's a pocket base. What's also important is that this natural has a ramp. Right, there's a ramp coming into the natural, so it is very easy to cut corners, go gasless, and wall off this ramp with an Eva chamber, with a Roach Warren, and with a Queen fully wall this up, or even just fully wall it up with another Evo chamber, and just be hyper greedy, take another expansion, and then go into either like a roach all in, go into muta play, or just build up into three bases or 2.5 bases as quickly as possible. So we'll see if anyone skips their gases. So far, hatch gas pool, standard opener out of Reynor, standard opener out of Rogue. No one cuts any corners. Okay. I still stand by that it is viable, more so on this map than others, to go for something like a gasless opener, but neither one does attempt that. And not here. So far, standard builds. Because it is a little bit more defendable here, muta play is a little more accessible on Celestial Enclave. We have seen a lot of muta versus muta on this map. When I say a lot, more than usual. I mean, at all is more than usual. But we'll see. So now we're droning, we're saturating. And once again, we'll keep an eye on our players to see if anyone deviates away. If anyone stays in gas, pulls even harder out of gas. Show us what you got. So we go Reynor, he does pull one out, and so does Rogue. Standard build so far. This means that both players should not be skipping their Bailey nests, and we should be expanding, claiming our third. There we go, third base for Reynor, third base for Rogue. So far so good. My one big criticism for Rogue last game was his delayed scout. It took a long time for his links to get into the bases. Scouting would be paramount, and Reynor, he's going for the Evo chamber, and he is skipping his Bailey nest. Okay, so we're skipping the nest, going straight into the Evo chamber. From here, we can go into a Roach Warren, and we can go into early +1 Carapace in towards heavy Roach play in the mid game. Okay. So Reynor once again shifting gears. Meanwhile, Rogue, he is playing standard. So Bailey nest is on the way. Rogue trying to hunt down any stray overlords. Oh, we see why. So this is a standard build, but Rogue is going for Link Flood. And because Reynor skipped his Bailey nest, Reynor is vulnerable. This could kill. Straight up. Rogue, did he see? He may have got, yeah, with the Overlord, he may have seen the lack of buildings here, lack of setup at the wall. We're banking Lings, and this can end the game. This can just straight up end the game. Without defensive Bailings, what does Reynor have to defend? Nothing. He's got Link Queen. Here come the Mailings. Here comes the bust. Reynor's droning, and it's going to be Reynor's turn to be caught with his pants down. we're taking turns back. We're taking turns. Last game, Rogue made the mistake of droning. This game, Reynor's also making the mistake of droning. Here we go. Oh, Bailey's the scene. Here comes the Link Flood. Rogue is completely all in. He's down over 10 workers. Either Rogue kills Reynor or he dies trying. And Reynor, he does try to fully wall off. The star base is forfeit. Rogue, can he break that natural ramp though? Reynor's trying to catch reinforcements instead. Yeah, he's trying to catch him, making his own Zerglings. There is going to be a transfuse. Wow, okay, there's a transfuse. Very quick wall here. Reynor, so far, he's holding on. Ooh, we gotta be careful. Don't want to waste our Bailings. We don't want to waste them. And the longer this game goes on, the better it is for Reynor. My assumption was that this wall would not finish up and that Rogue would be able to get into the bases. But remember, Reynor, he was able to scout this a little bit earlier. He was able to react with his full wall. And so far, this is not worth it for Rogue. Rogue, this needs to get more damage done. Like, this is a big investment. Rogue is still behind economically. And the all-in fails. Oof. Yeah, the aggression fails here for Rogue. He killed an expansion, but, I mean, Reynor has a pocket base. Like, it's fine. Specifically on this map, losing that third base means less. It does mean less. And now Reynor's getting to his own upgrades. +1 range is on the way. Lair is finishing up to get into Roach speed. Reynor could even go into Mutas if he wanted to. I think Mutas would be the correct call, assuming, making the assumption that Reynor is ahead. But we'll see. Lair did just finish. Roach speed is on the way. Reynor should have an overload in position. Reynor, he should have seen the Lings moving in this direction. But he does not see the rocks being knocked down. Uh-oh.
Under attack.
Again, this is relatively common on this map. Reynor focusing on the aggression, does take down all the Banelings. Queens are going down at the same time, though the wall has been broken. And Rogi floods in. Yeah, he floods into the bases here. Reynor, he did not have an overload in position. He should have. Roaches are popping out. Queen gets surrounded. Reynor does pull away. Nice splits. Up! Oh my god, he gets 4. Yeah, 4 drones go down. Reynor, he holds, and across the map, he kills 4 drones as well. He kills 4 workers. Reynor even kills a queen. So he does defend in the end. He defends, he holds. And I believe Reynor should have that roach lead, and he does. He's got his mass roach. Knocking down these rocks was able to at least get some economic damage, and this is better than nothing for Rogue, but Rogue is still far behind. Rogue is still playing catch up. And here we go, Roach speed kicks in. Roach speed is done, +1 range as well. Reynor, he's up in upgrades. He's up in army, he's up in economy. And he's pushing. He's pushing out across the map, looking at the unit tab here. We do see Reynor, he's got almost double the roach count of his opponent. Ooh, catching out the roaches here. You can see that Rogue is trying to buy time and lure the army away, but this is an expensive move here from Rogue. Losing so many roaches in the process. And Reynor can just keep rallying. And just keep rallying, catching out more roaches. Pivoting back around, and GG. GG gets called. Reynor, he will take a 2-0 lead in the series. GG. Whew, and again, Rogue, it was a cheeky build. It was a cheeky build, and I thought it was going to work as well. Winding it back, remember, how did this all begin? Reynor skipped his Baneling Nest. Reynor was very greedy at the start of this game. He skipped his Baneling Nest, so he was vulnerable to a Link Flood, and Rogue was going for a Link Bane all-in. He was going for the all-in. He went across the map. Now, he was scattered barely ahead of time. Reynor, he saw the Banelings in the center of the map, and he saw the Link move out, and Reynor responded with a full wall, right? He fully walled off. I mean, I say full wall. It was 2 Evo Chambers, a Roach one, and a Queen. So he was able to wall off his ramp, and my assumption was that Rogue was going to be able to break it anyway, that he was going to be able to break through that ramp, but Rogue, he settled for the 3rd, so he fell behind, because Rogue cut a lot of workers. He was down, what, 11, 12 drones. He was down a lot of workers. He was down in economy. He was down in tech. He had to kill, and he settled for killing the 3rd base, which was not good enough to recover, right? It wasn't good enough to make up for his investment, and Rogue fell behind. Rogue, he fell behind from that moment. GG, well played, and with that, Reynor takes a 2-0 lead, and I'm hoping for a back and forth. I want a game 4, I want a game 5, I want, regardless of who wins the series, I want an ace match, but the pressure is on Rogue. Let's go. Gonna be loading into Winter Madness. Gonna be loading on in. And I get impressive reactions out of Reynor. What should have been punished, I mean, he was not. And that doesn't bode well, I'll be honest. It doesn't bode well for the rest of the series. But spawning in the top left-hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the Italian Zerg player, we have the blue Zerg representing Basilisk, leading the series 2-0. It is Reynor. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent, we have the South Korean Zerg player, we have the red Zerg representing Team Falcons. It is Rogue. Let's go. Whew. Let us go. Welcome to another one of these larger maps. Now, this map is not as defensive and it's not as macro-oriented as Celestial Enclave, but it's up there. It's definitely up there nonetheless. You know, it's a larger map, longer rush distance by ground, defendable, natural, 3rd and 4th expansions, and we often do see a lot of mid-game. The reality is that so far this series, we've had a lot of fast games. A lot of decisive builds, a lot of aggression out of both Reynor and Rogue. And Rogue has been struggling. He has been struggling here, so it's going to be the pressure's on Rogue, right? The pressure's on Rogue to make a decision. How do we adjust? How do we open up? Do we play safe? Do we be aggressive? Do we be greedy? How does Rogue begin that comeback? So far, Hatch Gas Pool. Hatch Gas Pool, standard opener. Because Rogue is behind, I mean, he is one to take a risk and to take a chance, that is true. But I'm not so sure you can against Reynor. Referring to cutting corners and being greedy. Do we finally get a standard macro game? Do we finally get a standard macro game? Well, we'll see. We'll see. As the players are calming down, overlords are being sent out across the map, getting vision here on main attack paths. Alright, getting vision. From here, we're building up into link speed. Hold on. Wait, what? Yeah, okay. Sorry, I was losing my mind for a moment. So link speed is on the way. Once again, we pull one out of gas for Rogue. We pull one out for... Oh. No. Hello, Reynor. Reynor, he pulls two out. Okay. So we mentioned this earlier, and if you remember, Serral did this. Serral did this yesterday. So pulling an extra worker out of gas tells us that there's a higher chance that Reynor, he wants to prioritize mineral income because he is going to be delaying his baneling nest and going for an earlier link flood. That's typically what this means. So delayed banelings, earlier link flood, earlier aggression out of Reynor is what we are assuming with this build. As it does make a wave of links. As you can see, yep, 4 more links on the way. These should be drones, right? These should, at this stage of the game, you should be droning, but you can see that Reynor, he's banking up more Zerglings. Oh, he doesn't delay his nest, but there it is. 14 lings are on the way. Reynor, he is going for the link flood. He's committing. He's doubling down. Remember, Reynor, he's behind economically. And Rogue is making a safety amount of lings back at home. He sees. Yeah, he does see the Zerglings. He knows. 18 lings are on the way. Rogue, he has not been overly greedy. He has the tools to defend. Now, I assume that Reynor's baneling nest would be a little bit more delayed, and it is later than Rogue's, but not by too much. It's mainly about the Zerglings. As Reynor does poke in, distracting Rogue. Now, behind this Reynor, he is droning. Reynor's droning up. Reynor's catching up economically. He is catching up. He's forcing a big reaction here out of Rogue. As Rogue has 20 lings on the way. Jesus. There's a lot of Zerglings. Does move out for the counterattack. Nice reaction here by Reynor, buying more time. And where the defensive banelings are on the way. Okay, they're on the way back at home. Here we go. Rogue has been triggered a counterattack. Reynor out of position. Oh my god, massive connection. Yeah, Reynor, he was caught out. And Reynor's in trouble. He's now in trouble here. Oh, waste a baneling. Yeah, Reynor, he took a baneling to the face. He wastes another. We have more banelings coming in. Remember, Rogue, he had more gas income than Reynor. Ooh, and Reynor, he's falling apart. Goes across the map, takes another baneling to the face. Nice connection there by Reynor, finally. Oh, can he save the baneling? No, he cannot. Doesn't save it. But again, some cheeky moves out of Reynor. Morphing in 4 banelings back at home. Like as Rogue, he's going to be waddling in. He's got a lot of banelings. Reynor has to split. He does have to split here. The Queens have moved forward to zone away the banelings. And Reynor's holding. Whew, okay, Reynor, he does hold on. A very intense early game here where Reynor was almost caught out. Some really rough moments there and rough micro from Reynor. But but he does survive. He does survive. Same time, Lings, they get across the map. They get 3 drone kills. 4! Oh my god! 4 drones go down. Reynor takes a worker lead, and both players are droning. So after a very, very intense early game, we're calming down, we're droning up, we're saturating. And getting into the mid-game here, Reynor takes a lead. I say he takes a lead, he's taking up, but he gets scouted. So Roach Horn's on the way, gases are on the way, checking Rogue's vision, I believe he saw. Yep, he did see all the tech, did see the gases. He knows. He's aware. Right now, both players still just saturating. Lairs are on the way. Rogue already had his own Roach Horn. And we're getting into the mid game. Because Reynor's been playing catch up, Reynor, he has no Eva chamber. So no chamber, no upgrades. That's a little bit of a tell. You see Roki goes in to get a full scout. Checking behind the mineral line. Sees no Evo Chamber. So upon the scout, Rogue knows that he's ahead. He's ahead when it comes to the upgrades, right? He's ahead when it comes to +1. So he just has to calm down and hit with +1. Oh. Circling, dipping into the natural. Doesn't scout the main. I was about to say that for Reynor, for all he knows, it could be a Spire, and there it is, Spire behind the main base. We're both. Let's go. If you remember, I assumed it was going to be Muta versus Muta on Celestial. We're seeing Muta versus Muta here on Winter Madness. The Muta War is Pappy. Let's go. Alright, let's go. We do see a slightly ahead for Rogue, but only slightly. As I mentioned before, typically +1 at flyer attack is superior if you have the higher Muta counts, but here it's going to be close enough where Carapace is more ideal. Assuming we invest into mass Muta, true. Like, the other option here is that it's only a handful of Mutas and then we switch into mass Roaches. Both players are getting into Roach speed. But Rogue, he chose not to get the upgrade. That's the big tell here. The fact that he never got +1 despite having a very fast Evo Chamber tells us that most likely he will commit into more and more Mutas. As he is saving all that gas. And there we go, we have 9 Mutas on the way. And we should be seeing even more. This is a bold move. Again, Rogue, there we go. He does cancel +1 fire attack going into +1 defense. He scouts. Yeah, he does scouts. So he does need that defense instead. I believe Reynor has no idea. Yeah, Reynor, he has yet to confirm. He knows he's been scouted, true. Reynor, he's aware. Roaches, they move out across the map. And Musa revealed. Oof. Yeah, Reynor, he's deflected. Remember, he's investing into the range upgrades. Reynor's in a rough position. And Rogue, he gains map control. He's even catching out these Roaches. They're an A move. Yeah, they're an A move. They're going to be shut down. And Reynor, he's in so much trouble here. Losing his army. Losing map control. Losing momentum. Does lose that momentum. With all the queens, Reynor can try to hold on here, but again, he is stuck at home. Stuck at home, stuck defending. More Mutas are amassing. Better engage here for Reynor, true. Oof. Bailey's so no, they get into the mineral line. Drones are stacking. 8 drones already go down. They make their way into the main. Oof. Getting 1 extra worker. And so far, this is looking like the beginning of the comeback. Rogue, he's up when it comes to Mutas. He's up in economy. The one thing that Rogue doesn't have is, of course, upgrades supporting his ground army. But that doesn't really matter. Like, Mutas, they maintain map control. They maintain control. Oof. And you can just fight this head on. Yeah, you can just fight this head on. Even with these queens and trained shoes, it's not going to be enough. As Rogue, he will dominate the skies. Catching at the Bailey nest. Nice run by, true. Nice run by, getting into the mineral lines, and drones are under fire, getting some economic damage. I mean, this is nice and all, but there's still no answer to the Mutas. That's the real issue. Oof, yeah, big supply block. Reynor, he's desperate, going for the base trade. Sending his army across the map. Fun fact, Reynor, he only has a slight roach lead here. Gotta be careful. Does have the better upgrades though, true. Yeah, it does have the better upgrades. Meanwhile, the natural base is forfeit. The roach horn is going to be exposed as well. Reynor's trying to fight with the spore. He's trying. But he should never win this fight. Like, Reynor, he can never fully engage. You know, roaches, they do get into the mineral lines. The best chance that Reynor has is to cripple the economy and build up his own mutas. But no, he gets caught out. Yeah, he gets caught out. Rogue once again takes down all the queens. If he wants to, he can just kill the spore. And he will. Oh, does not focus on the spore. Oh, gotta be careful. Oh, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. It still fights out of range. No spore at the third base. Nah, yeah, there's a spore. Across the map, Reynor, he's killing a lot of workers. He's doing a lot of damage, which is nice and all, but it does not matter. Not in the face of mass muta. Doesn't matter, Pat. We still have 29 mutas to 10 mutas for Reynor. If we had more spores, then maybe, but that's the one spore is whirling in. And we have a series. We have a series, Pappy. That's where he got away with his mutas. He got away with it. With that just collapsing in the army, fighting head on. Cleans up all the mutas, cleans up all the queens, and snowballs out of control. GG gets called, and Rogue, it does fight back. It does force a game 4. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Winding it back again, both players were in similar positions and similar situations, but we saw that Reynor, he was investing quite heavily into things that were not mutas. He was going into +1 range, he was going into +1 melee, he was building up his roach count and spending gas elsewhere. So even though both players were going for the Spire, one player was going mass muta, the other was not. So Rogue, he was able to overwhelm and just surpass Reynor and just dominate the map, gain map control, keep Reynor busy. Reynor, sure, he was able to counterattack with his ground army, but that's all he could really do. Kill a couple of workers, then GG. GG, well played. With that, we have a series here. We have a back and forth. It will not be a 3-0, and we'll see if Rogue can force the ace match. Let's go. Gonna be loading into Taito Citadel. We are going to be loading in and spawning in the top left-hand corner. Top left-hand corner here of title, we have the Italian Zerg player. We have the blue Zerg representing Basilisk. It is Reynor. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the red Zerg representing Team Falcons. It is Rogue. Here we go. That's where he does begin the comeback. And again, can he force that ace match? But now both players are going to be opening up. Going hatch gas pool, everything's looking normal, and welcome to Taito Citadel, another one of these larger maps. Larger map of the map pool. One of the biggest features here is how drawn out or how isolated these bases are. The third base locations are very spread out. They're very, very spread out. The distance between them is longer than on other maps, so trying to reactively defend and rotate defensively between these bases can be more difficult if you're lacking map vision and map control, or just map awareness. In ZVZ, it's something that comes quite easily. Like, there should be overlords everywhere, and both players should be able to keep up with their rotations. Should be able to. Here we go. Again, from here we are building up, taking our gases, getting into our spawning pools. We'll keep an eye on whether or not we do pull out a gas. Remember, last game did begin with Reynor going for a link flood, and he didn't do enough damage with it, if you recall. He went for a big link flood, and Rogue, he was able to keep up with his aggression. Rogue did not overdrone. So Reynor did have a rough opener last game. From here we're still saturating. There you go, we do pull one out of gas for a Rogue. Likewise, Reynor stays in. Oh, waiting a little bit longer here, but no, yeah, Reynor, he's staying in gas. This is a big tell here for Reynor. There's a higher chance now he does go for a Bane Bust or for a Roach Rush. So excess gas here for Reynor. And now we see what the gas is for. I was waiting for either a Baneliness or a Roach Horn. It is going to be the early Evo Chamber. Okay, now this is an Evo Chamber after after speed is halfway done. So I would say there's a lower chance this is for +1 melee, and most likely it's +1 carapace. But we'll see how this all comes together. Like, it could be carapace and we just skip banelings. Yep, there it is. Carapace is on the way. Typically, if it's +1 melee, the Evo Chamber would be earlier. Usually, you want the Evo Chamber lined up with speed. I should say a +1 melee lined up with speed. So here we go. We have the Carapace on the way. No Bailey Nest. Bailey Nest is now done for Rogue. And Reynor's Link Flooding. Reynor, he's going for the all-in. Now, when it comes to this Link Flood, because of the Carapace upgrade, he can tank a Baneling. That is true. Banelings will no longer one-shot Lings. They will not one-shot. So Baneling is going to be a little bit less effective. Still useful, but just less effective. And Rogue is droning. Ooh, Rogue is droning. Rogue is teching. Link Scout is denied. Rogue trying to figure out what's going on. Setting out another Zergling. I'll send out another. Reynor, he's all over this. Denying the scouts. Reynor, he's joining up a little bit behind this again. Remember, he's waiting for a +1 Carapace to finish. And then he should commit. Oh! Yeah, as one Zergling does slip in. Rogue gets into the main. Yeah, Reynor does slip up, and Rogue, he sees the Evo Chamber. He knows. Yeah, now he's fully aware of +1 Carapace. Back at home, we need roaches defensively. We're going to get ready. Rogue getting his own chamber. Building up his gases. Reynor, his own roach production has begun. And Rogue, can he keep up? Now, thankfully, Rogue droned. Rogue, he did drone up to 47, but he shouldn't be droning up too much more from here. More than anything, we need army. Oh my god. Does catch a couple of Lings. Spots the army, pulls away. Reynor, he's droning up behind this. You can see he's revealing all these roaches, but it's a fake out. So this is a fake out here by Reynor. Reynor knows he's been scouted. He knows that Rogue should be ready. And Reynor, he just pokes out and drones up behind this and saturates. Reynor shouldn't commit here. Yeah, this is a bit of an overextension. He should not commit. I believe that's losing one. Yeah, Reynor does lose one roach. Ooh, Spires on the way. Smart move here by Rogue. I mean, I say smart move. So, Rogue, this is a really good way to capitalize on the greater tech. True. Like, this is a really good way to try to end the game. The problem is that Reynor, as he was posturing, was droning. It was a fake out. Rogue knows that it was a fake out. And now Reynor's actually committing. So, Reynor's going to be cutting workers here at 53. You have Lings amassing, Roaches, Ravagers, +1 Rangers on the way. Reynor, he is going to push, and it's going to hit quite hard. He's essentially going for an all-in. Lings, they scout a Gas Geyser. They spot the army. Rogue knows. Yeah, Rogue, he knows. Reynor, he does pull the trigger. And Rogue is in danger. Rogue is in trouble. Here comes the all-in. Rogue did drone up. He was preserving resources. The Spire is not going to come into play. Oh, Reynor getting caught though. Yeah, where are the Banelings? Where are the Banelings? Banelings are now waddling in. Reynor, he has to pull away. There's still 2 Banelings left. Yeah, there's still 2 Banelings. Oh my god, Lings, they do run past. Catching reinforcements. Nice movement here out of Reynor. And there's 1 Baneling left. Oh my god, does not connect. That does graze the army. And now we commit. Yeah, the boys are being pulled. Roaches are going down, and Reynor, he's breaking through. Oh, the Biles. Deny 3 Roaches. And Reynor has done it. Reynor, he has done it. He has broken the 3rd base again. Rogue, he was just a little bit too greedy. He was droning up too much. He tagged up too much as well. He believed he was safe to do so, but he wasn't safe, Fatty. Yeah, it was not safe. And with that, Reynor, he has broken the 3rd. Now pushing into the natural and going for the kill. Going for the kill. Again, shout out to, a big shout out to Reynor's control when it came to his Zerglings. A very nice control to avoid those Banelings, to catch reinforcements. As you mentioned, Rogue, he had droned. He was taking up into mutas. was getting ready for a longer game. And what do we say? He was caught with his the pants were down, Pappy. Once again, the pants were down to Rogue. Critical damage to the natural. 20 drone kills. 20 drones going down. And even these roaches are amassing won't be enough. It will not be enough. And again, Rogue, he saw the all-in coming ahead of time. He thought he was safe to drone up. GG gets called, and Reynor will claim the series 3-1, claiming third place at LiuLi Cup, the Grand Finals. GG. GG, well played. Again, a hyper-aggressive series between these two players. We never saw a single macro game. You could say the closest one was the Muta game previously in Winter Madness, but even then it was hyper-aggression early on, which did fail for Reynor, and he did fall behind. Here we saw that Reynor went for the early Eva Chamber, and Rogue eventually scouted. He eventually got into the main base. He eventually saw the Eva Chamber. He knew that it was going to be +1 carapace. He knew that it was going to be an all-in timing, and Rogue, he was getting ready for it. Reynor went for a fake out, droned up initially, and went for a later all-in. Rogue thought he was safe after deflecting, and Rogue thought that Reynor was droning. He thought that it was droning. He thought that he was macroing. Reynor was not. It's not macroing up. GG, well played. Whew. And with that, Reynor, he does claim that series. Congratulations to Reynor. Unfortunately, as we mentioned before, he cannot progress further into the tournament, but does at least cement himself as third in this event in the bracket. GG, well played. With that, we can switch our teams over and catch up on the bracket itself. Again, Rogue, he did an amazing job making it this far, I'll be honest. I was favoring Trigger, for example, in the previous series in the quarterfinals, but for Rogue to make it through the group stage and to make it into the bronze match was very impressive. Very impressive play there by Rogue to make it that far. Meanwhile, up next, we do have the main event. We have the grand finals. It's going to be best of 7. Best of 7 ZVT between Maru and Serral. And I feel like it's going to be a very long series. I'll be no, maybe not necessarily because of the scoreline, but because of the games themselves. If you were here yesterday for Maru versus Reynor, you would know that that series was like 2 hours. Those 3 games were like 3 hours long. It was like an hour each game. It was crazy. It was a very, very long series. Maru was playing very defensive, very turtley. I mean, he is the best turtle player in the world. Like 100%. Like Maru, you don't get better than Maru when it comes to just walling up, turtling up, slowing the game down, taking the advantages away from your opponents, specifically their speed, and being able to force your kind of game state instead, right? Like that's where Maru's at his best, and I can see him doing that against Serral as well. I will say that Serral is usually one that is more patient than Reynor, and he's more willing to embrace that kind of game state as well, more so than Reynor at least. So I do think Serral's going to be a little bit better suited here, but we'll see. We'll see. For now, we're going to be cutting to a break. We're going to be cutting to a break, and when we come back, we'll have the final series. We'll have the grand finals of best of 7 between Maru and Serral. We'll see you soon. See you soon after the break. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Grand Finals. The Grand Finals of the LiuLi Cup 2025 Grand Finals playoffs. The final day here. We're here with day 3, and we just wrapped up with our bronze match with both Rogue versus Reynor. Reynor did take down Rogue 3-1 to make it out in 3rd place, but now we're here to confirm who will be our champion here for LiuLi Cup. Will it be a Terran or a Zerg? Will it be Maru or Serral? Let's go, baby. Let's go. Historically, Serral has had the much stronger performance and the dominant record against Maru. That is true, but as I tried to emphasize yesterday, Maru has been improving so much more over the past couple of months. Again, ever since the latest patch, ever since the latest map pool update, Maru has been adjusting, has been adapting, has been improving his ZVT. Yesterday he showcased his late game prowess, his mech. Of course, he played a lot of mech against Reynor. I expect to see a lot of mech here against Serral, and we'll see how Serral will handle himself. If you've been watching ZVTs with Serral as of late, he has been struggling. If you're watching Home Story Cup, Big Gabe did mech the hell out of Serral 3 games. 3 games in a row. I say 3 games in a row. 3 games in the series, winning a best of 5, winning every game that he had won with a variation of mech as well. So Serral's been having a bit of a harder time here. I do see Maru playing a lot with mech here this series, having success with it as well, but we'll see how Serral has learned and adapted, and we'll see how he'll change his approach as well. We'll see. We shall see, as game 1 is going to be on Tourmaline. Let's go. Let's go. On a smaller map like this, it's going to be much more difficult for a player like Maru to try to force a longer and later game, but we'll see as we are loading into game number 1 and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Tourmaline. We have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Red Terran representing Team Vitality. It is Maru. And spawning in the bottom hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Finnish Zerg player, the Blue Zerg representing Team Basilisk. It is Serral. Let's go, baby, let's go. We're here. We're finally made it to the grand finals. It is going to be best of 7 between Serral and Maru, and it all begins on Tourmaline, a smaller map of the map pool, smaller map, shorter rush distance by ground. Hyper aggression is favored here on Tourmaline, and we'll see who will gain a lead, who will gain momentum in said series. Now, coming into Tourmaline, this map is a very small map. Short rush distance by ground, hyper aggression is favored, and typically smaller maps do favor Terran players. The reasoning for this is because Zerg players have less room to breathe, they have less room to spread creep, to try to buy map control, to replenish said army. These pushes, especially 8 Raxes, can be very strong on Tourmaline, and we'll see if Maru does commit into something like an 8 Rax. Oh boy. Here we go. Because aggression is favored, and because typically Terran aggression is favored on this map, we do often see a lot of roach play. A lot of roach play from Zerg players to be more defensive, to defend, to survive, and then to turn that defense into an offense as well. So it's very common to see roaches here on Tourmaline. We'll see if that's the case for Serral, who again was very fond of roaches for the past couple of years. Right, pre-patch and pre-map pool, pre-buff to the Baneling, roach play was kind of the go-to for a lot of top Zerg players, including Serral. Of course, that has since changed with the latest patch due to the HP buff to the Baneling. That does mean that Ling Bane is more viable, and that means is more accessible coming into the mid game and defending against 8 Raxes. True. Is more viable. Otherwise, we're going to be settling in. Droning, saturating, working on our 3rd bases, and we'll see where our players take us tech-wise. Likewise, we do see that Maru is going for a standard opener so far. Maru, he has been mixing it up, especially against Reynor yesterday, when it comes to 2-Rax Reaper, when it comes to CC first, when it comes to quirkier builds. I don't think we saw a standard game against Reynor, or a standard build. There was always some kind of twist or turn. So now it's going to be a 3rd CC before Starport on the low ground as well. Interesting location for the 3rd command center, not going to lie. Usually it's a part of the wall, but here it's just in front of the ramp. Huh. Okay. Interesting. The Reaper gets across the map. We do see a later 3rd base for Serral. Interesting. Just blindly going for a delayed 3rd. And joining up on 2 bases. Despite that, one drone goes down. Yeah, one drone does fall. Nice pick off here by Maru. Ooh, not worth it though, losing the Reaper. Nice pick off out of Serral. The scary thing here is, I was about to say that Serral can hide his tech and he's going to a very fast lair. Let's go. Yeah, hyper fast lair here out of Serral. We mentioned this previously, time to re-emphasize that once again, but Serral, he is not just a standard player, not anymore. Over the past couple of years, Serral has been very cheesy, very aggressive, and very willing to all in. If you watch Serral versus Clem, for example, Serral, he is desperate for all ins against Clem. So we do see a lot of all-ins nowadays from Serral. He's not as like Showtime-esque or macro-esque like he once was in the past, which makes him a stronger player because now he can mix it up, right? Now he can mix it up, now he can diversify. But again, very early there timing. Roach Warren gets thrown down. The Roach Warren isn't surprised. Remember, we began this series, we began this game talking about how Roach play is very standard on this map. It's very common. But with the earlier layer, we can rush into earlier Roach speed, and we can hit an earlier Roach timing. Okay. So eyes are on Serral. It does mean that in the mid game he will have, again, a timing attack available to him. Meanwhile, Maru's just joining, saturating, getting to zone 3, CC 2-on-1. Now, because this build that Maru's going for, he's going to have delayed factory production. He's going for the add-on swap into reactor medevac, so you go into a 16 marine medevac drop. Oh boy. And we'll see what Maru can get done. He should be moving out within the next minute. Overseer does confirm. Yeah, does see the research on the tech lab. Does confirm the 2-1-1. Serral knows. So he's aware of the timing. He's aware that at 5:30 is when the medevacs pop. And when Maru can start to push out. Maru, he himself did see the Roach Warren. He knows. He's aware of the Roach Warren, and it's going to be on Serral to keep up, to shut down the drop, and to potentially even counterattack. Remember, the lair is faster than normal, Roach speed is faster than normal, so that means that Serral can actually push across the map. Yeah, we can see he's spreading creep. He's spreading creep, he's setting up that highway, and he's going for the all-in. The Queens are willing across the map as well. Serral is completely all-in, and we'll see if he can break Maru here and now. Now, Maru, he does get the early tank. This is abnormal to get the tank this quickly. The tank is now out. And it's going to be more difficult to break. How many Ravagers? 0. 0 Ravagers so far. Army is staying back. Ravagers have been revealed. And Maru, yep, he does pre-pull the boys. Pre-pulls the boys to repair. Maru, he's ready for this. And Serral, he has no faith. He's droning. Yeah, Serral is droning up. The all-in has failed. Serral is now droning, now saturating. And the goal now is to contain and maybe pick up some key units. Serral's going for the infestation pits. This is for infestors. He does need them. Remember, Serral, he has no link speed. He skipped link speed. There's no bailiness either. So to deal with Bio Army, he does need that support. He needs those spell casters, those fungal growths. So infestors are going to be a big part of Serral surviving the mid game. And the pit is just now finishing. And the pit is finishing up. And that double drop here at the third base. Sorry, at the fourth, I should say, and we'll force a cancel. Nice pick up. Jesus. Double cancellation. Yeah, even kills the drone as well. Yeah, very nice pick up here by Maru. Serral, he is struggling in the follow-up. Again, the all-in did fail, so Serral, he has a lot of catching up to do. I do appreciate that we're just trying to spread as much creep as possible, being as annoying as possible. Forcing out scans. And Serral is in a rough position. Remember, the soup does lie, right? The soup does lie. Serral's supply is inflated by Roach Ravager. Maru has the more efficient army. He's building up into more tanks, more marauders. Now, what I will say is that this defensive setup is still very open, it's still very exposed. That this is one of the reasons why Tourmaline does favor aggression. So Serral can still try to hit a timing here. We'll see. For now, he's on 70 workers. Remember, the 4th base was heavily delayed. He's double expanding. Oh, and he's taking up into ultras. Okay, so Serral's going for the late game. He's trying to rush into ultra attack, which means the Maru, he's free to gain map control, to be active, to deny creep, and to keep Serral busy. Even finding a queen. Does find the queen. Queen has been busy, spreading a lot of creep. But the creep is all being cleaned up. Is all being dealt with. So they cannot fight without this fungals. Meanwhile, we do see the Ultra Cavern is done. Kindness splitting is on the way. Now, is there going to be a window in time where Serral can get into Ultras before there are ghosts out? Currently, there is no Academy. Yeah, there's no Academy here. But there's a high Marauder and a high tank count because of the Roach Opener. So Maru, he will have an answer. Not the best answer, but an answer to the Ultras. Oh, setting up a Doom Drop. Okay. Does with the Infestor. Baits the army and shows some eye shot. Up! Ooh, massive connection. A nice connection there by Maru. Ooh, meanwhile, massive fungal on the right hand side. Catching up the drop. Better catch there from Serral. Was able to catch 21 Marines and a Marauder. Nice pickups. Doom Drop is set. We're loading up. And there should be a way into the main. There's an entrance here into the main base. And currently Maru's unaware. He's now switching to Ghost production. The Academy is now done, so we have Liberators, Ghosts, Maru, he's perfecting his army. And that means that Ultras are less effective. There's 3 Ultras so far. Oh, he sees! Yeah, Maru, he spots the Doom Drop. Ay, ay, ay. He's ready for it. The drop will not achieve any damage. Pivoting over towards the 3rd. Yeah, it's going to be denied. So let's get the hell out of there. Let's pull away. As those claps in, nice fungal here catching out one of the ghosts. But there's no link follow-up. The Ultras are going down. Liberators just rain down here on the Ultras. They rain down on the Roaches as well. And so they cannot break through. Just again, a very inefficient army here. That was a rough trade for Serral, pushing into a siege line. And now Serral switching out of Roaches into Ling Ultra, into a more efficient composition. So we're done with the Roaches, done with the Ravagers. At least we're trying to be done. We are setting up. Yeah, we're setting up. Maru's doing what he does best. He's just fully turtling. And this is what we were a little bit afraid of. If you recall, what happened during Maru's series against Reynor is Maru, he was able to be hyper defensive, hyper turtly, and just slow the game down to a crawl and take away any of the speed advantage that your opponent does have. That's kind of what's happening here. Center towers, missile turrets, tank lines, liberation zones as well. Fully turtling up. And I'll be honest, I expect this to happen every game. I'll be honest. That's where I expect Maru to try to force the game, I should say. And so far, he's successful in doing so. And you can see Serral, he's trying to kill his own roaches. As we mentioned before, these roaches are hurting Serral more than helping. You gotta get rid of them. As against Serral, he cannot engage. Now the problem here is that Serral, he's stuck with a Lingbane Ultra army. Lingbane Ultra is meant to dive. It's meant to like dive in, to break into an expansion, to push in towards the army. It's meant to engage. Or even catch an army in the center of the map. But Maru isn't pushing. He isn't pushing, he's turtling up. He has an ideal setup against Ultra specifically. And we can see he's trying to go for the dive. Nice kiting here against the Lingbane. Ultras, they do not break through. And I would say that at this point, after this engagement, after what we just saw, we need to start thinking about a Greater Spire. We have to think about a Spire, Greater Spire, and start thinking about Broodlords and Infestors. Now, speaking of, we do have a Spire, but just the one. Only one Spire and no Greater Spire itself. There are some openings, I will say. As you can see here, there are no tanks in position, so this position is actually a little bit weaker. So potentially Serral can find an opening, as the majority of Serral's armies, Maru's armies here on the right hand side. So there is an opening. Nidus Swarm into the main. Maru does notice. And I am concerned here. Now, when it comes to the game state itself, that Maru's going for, he has his, 6 bases secure? Yep, he's getting a 6th base. What's really important, though, is, of course, the fringe bases. Top left and bottom right. We spoke about this. But right now, Serral, he does have them both under his control. It is important that Serral maintains these bases to be able to keep up with Maru. If at any moment Maru can deny these expansions and take them himself, then he will take a lead. He will get ahead. As Maru switching into mech. So we have more factories on the way, more CCs on the way. He's meching it up. Again, Ghost Mech is the ideal late game. Eventually, Maru wants to get rid of this bio army. So Maru, likewise, also still perfecting his army. And you can see he has intentions to push in towards bottom right. And this is Maru's win condition. If Maru can take down this base, and if he can take it himself, he can win the game. Or I should say he'll have a big advantage over Serral. Nuke on the left. Medevac save distract. He doesn't notice! Oh, he does. Okay, does notice, does pull away in time. Serral pulls away. Now here comes the second Spire. This does feel late, right? It's not like Serral was strapped for cash or anything. So late second Spire. But again, Serral, he has to get ready here for those Broodlords. Overseal's still alive. Going for another Nidus. Now, as you notice here, as we're building up this orbital count, eventually Maru, he wants to kill his own SCVs. He wants to throw them away. He's going to want to get rid of his workers and start building up a supermaxed army. The term supermax does mean that you have intentionally a lower worker count when it comes to your supplies, so you have more free supply for army. That's why one 200 supply cap army is not the same as another. One has more workers than the other. Maru wants to throw this away. If you recall, we want to get rid of the Marines and Marauders and replace them with more tanks, Hellions and Liberators and Ghosts. Maru's pushing into the south side. Serral not quite able to engage. Serral, he can potentially try to flank the army, but speaking of trying to flank though, the nuke does avoid the flank. Does send him away. And this does keep Maru safe. Like, this nuke means that Maru, he can just keep pushing. Yeah, forcing the fight. Maybe they roll in. They don't quite connect. And again, that was just a zoning nuke. Very smart out of Maru. Here he's just trading out his Marines, trading out his Marauders. Goes to overwhelm, and Maru, he takes over bottom right. Ay, ay, ay. At the same time, we do see Serral going for his own counterattack, though. Can he break the planetary? We mentioned earlier, but this base, this location is very undefended. There's barely anything here, and the planetary will fall. Now, when it comes to these two trades, this is better for Maru. The reality is that this expansion here that just went down, Serral should never take himself, right? Like, this is still a Maru base. So even though Maru doesn't have it, he will. That's why bottom right is so much more important, because this was a Serral expansion, but not anymore. Now, with losing this expansion, this does mean that Serral, he is behind economically, assuming that we fully mine out, right? Assuming that we mine out. The reason for that is because the Terran army is more efficient, so to make up for that, the Zerg army typically needs more bases. But with Maru claiming bottom right, that means that we have an even base count, which is better for the Terran. Assuming we mine out, of course. Which we may. That's why there's a lot of pressure on Serral. He will collapse into this expansion. And he should break this position. Now, what's important, 9 SCVs go down. I believe Maru, he is not replacing them. We mentioned earlier that typically, ideally, Maru wants to kill his own SCVs. Here, it's a little bit better. He doesn't have to kill them himself. They do go down here to this aggression, and they're not being replaced. So Maru, he had around 85 to 90 SCVs, and now he's down to 62. Which is a good thing. Like, he wants to be on a lower SCV count. Why does he want less SCVs? Because he has all these mules, right? He has all these orbitals, he has a bunch of energy for mules. He doesn't need to waste supply on workers. And that means that Maru is building up a larger army as well. Building up a larger army. Serral cannot fight head on, not like this. He can try to flank the army. He can try. Yeah, here we go. Coming in from behind. Let's go. Can he get the ghost? Yeah, lead main does collapse in. The ghosts, they get the hell out of there. They pull away. There's no planetary. And Serral, he does clean up all the tanks. Nicely done. Those were 5 tanks? Yes, that was 5 tanks going down. So nice engage here from Serral. But this is still a better trade for Maru. In a sense. When it comes to the more macro sense, or the greater picture, Maru has more expansions, Maru has a greater economy, and look at the banks. Usually the Zerg player wants to be up massively in terms of their bank, but we have an even bank instead. Sure, it certainly has more minerals, but that doesn't really matter as much. So things are looking very bleak for Serral. Behind this is getting to 3-3. He does have his Greater Spire. It's going to be a bit of a later switch, but you can see he's trying to get ready for Corruptors and Broodlords. The Infestor count is still quite low. There's only 3 Infestors. Serral's getting there, but again, it does feel quite late. So does collapse in. So he will take down bottom right. Massive mainly connections. At the same time, he will lose top left. Oh. So again, this is still in favor of the Terran as we trade bases. Trading 1-for-1 is not good enough here for Serral, as he does try to break his planetary. Oh, not quite able to though. Planetary does survive. Maru pushing onto creep. As Ling should clean this up. There we go. Now, upon losing this planetary, this does mean that it's going to be more difficult for Maru to take bottom right. So Serral can reclaim that expansion. But Serral lost top left. Now center base goes down and Banelings, they do roll in. Nice connection. Nice fungal. And nice fungal on the bio. Yo, wait. We're here to repair. Going for the nice into the main. Maru, does he notice? He doesn't. Oh, he does. Okay, does notice. Yeah, a couple of Lings do trickle out. Maru going for the kill. Yeah, cash and investors. The boys? Wait, I mean, they were saved earlier, so sure, why not? There we go. They're now going back in. Some of the production's being delayed here, I suppose. So he attempts to engage. Once again, nice Fungal here on the Metamax. Fungal does catch him out, but he's pushing into Liberation Zones. Oh my god, yeah, this is a kill zone. It's a kill zone here with 5 tanks and 3 Liberators. Serral, he cannot engage. Cannot push in. Scan reveals top left. And Maru, he's on the way. He's trying to rotate over. Oh, Maru's out of position. Okay. He's out of position. Goes too far back. This position's going to be cleaned up. For the most part. Yeah, for the most part. Maru's still rotating here towards that northern base. This expansion is exposed. Scans. He reveals the army of Serral. And Serral's completely out of position. He's out of position. There's no saving this base. Hatchery will go down. And from here, Maru can now rotate. He can rotate towards the south side, over towards the southern expansion. And he is. Yeah, he's rotating over. You can see Serral, he's anticipating this. He's getting in position. Oh no, the investor! No! Easy. Let's catch the investor. Maru pushing right through the center. Now, what's scary here is that Maru, he's almost on top of the natural. If he can break through into the natural, and you can see he's right next door, then he can just end the game. He can kill. This is one of the features of Tourmaline, is just how small the map is. Ling around by does distract. Nicely done. Lings, they force everything, just F2's back home. Okay. Bring everything back home, getting 1, getting 2 tanks. Nice speed ups here by Serral. And this is just giving Serral time. It's giving Serral time to saturate, to get bottom right up and running. To have an economy. Oh, as the tanks are left on their own. And Maru, he does rotate, does abandon these 3 tanks. That's big here by Serral. Once again, though, more expansions are being denied. And again, Serral, he's in a very rough position here. He's just being denied. Earlier, he's being denied 1 base. Now he's being denied 2, right? So he's being denied these 2 expansions. He cannot keep up. He is ready for a Broodlord switch eventually, but he doesn't have the infestors for it. Yeah, it doesn't have the infestors. Ling Rambai once again does distract. I'm liking these Ling Rambais. They're giving Serral a lot of time. As Rombies, again, they're just trying to distract, trying to buy time. Oh, Serral, he's overextending. He's trying to get on top of the ghosts. He's trying. Tanks are late to siege. Yeah, the late to siege up. That's going to be 2 ghosts going down, and he's going to get 3. Not quite. Ghosts, they get away. But still, he does break that siege line. Again, Maru, he was caught with his pants down. He had, what, 3, 4 tanks unsieged. Maru, he wasn't expecting that. And now he's down to only 3 tanks. Okay. It's only 3. Hellbats are tanking well. Hellbats do tank. We do get a fungal. Maru does pick up, does pull away. And so we got to keep going. Momentum is on his side. As that was how many? That was 6 ghosts getting caught out. That was, Jesus. That was so many tanks throughout the course of the past couple of moments. Past 6 minutes. Expensive losses there for Maru. Nice snipe on the CC. CC goes down. Maru, he has to rebuild that tank count. Once again, Serral attempts to flank. Can he get on top of those ghosts? It looks like he can. Yeah, massive connection here. Maybe the best fight that Serral could have hoped for. That was, what, another 5 ghosts going down. And Serral, has he done it? Has he broken through? Yeah, catching out so many ghosts here. Catching out the Liberator as well. Once again, Maru out of position. I think we've seen this move like maybe 3 times, specifically in this location, where Maru's pushing up the ramp and then Serral comes in for this flank instead. Like, again, this is a very open map. Very wide entrances. Whether it's here, whether it's here, here. It's all wide. So we're going to collapse in once again. This time Maru's ready for it. This time he pulls away. Yeah, the ghosts, they pull back on the right hand side. We get some decent fungals. Snipes are delayed. Snipes just now coming in after the siege line goes down. And Serral's gaining ground, lands a fungal, catching out of the ghost in the end. And Serral's done it. Serral, he has done it. He has broken Maru. Again, like 2, 3 bad fights in a row where Maru was just caught off guard. Even here, even though Maru was in a better position, he did pull away the ghost too much, which means he couldn't snipe, right? He couldn't get within range to snipe the ultras. Could not engage. Just better fights for Serral. And Maru, he has no bank. Maru, he has no bank. Due to how expensive these losses have been. And once again, here comes that flank. Surrounds the army. Massive fungal. And with that, Maru gets caught. He gets caught on out. This time, and nothing escapes. And Serral's going for the kill. GG gets called. And Serral takes game number 1. Whew, GG. GG, well played. That was what, like 3-4 fights in a row that Serral did take. Again, Maru, he was caught off guard. When it came to the greater expansions and denying bases, I do think that Maru was playing it out very, very well for the majority of this game. But again, towards the tail end, we saw rough fight after rough fight after rough fight. Maru getting caught out of position with his ghost, specifically unable to pull back in time, bleeding out 4, 5, 6 ghosts at a time. Very expensive losses there for Maru. GG. GG, well played. Serral was able to catch him out in the end, and Serral takes the lead in the series. GG. Oh, and does take a lead here. And from here, we have a lead, and we're getting into game 2. We'll see if Maru can bounce back. We'll see if Serral can extend his lead. Let's go. Patience from Serral. I don't know if I would say that was patience from Serral. It honestly felt quite desperate from Serral. Like it was like Serral was having a really hard time defending, really hard time expanding. Eventually he was able to take one strong fight in the center, if you recall. I want to say that the pivotal moment that game for Serral was when he was able to catch those tanks in the center of the map, right? He was able to catch like 5, 6, 7 tanks when the majority of them were unsieged, and then from that moment he was able to gain map control and just keep pushing, just keep going. If it wasn't for that, like, Maru was looking insane. Like, it was... But let's go. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Title Sigil, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the blue Terran representing Team Vitality. It is Maru. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the Finnish Zerg player, the red Zerg, representing Basilisk. Leading the series 1-0, it is Serral. So... let us go. This map seems very narrow. Not at all. I would say that Tourmaline is one of the wider or more open maps in the map pool. Once again, unlike this map, for example, where there are a lot of choke points, a lot of ramps, a lot of areas here where a defensive position is stronger, whereas on Tourmaline, the entrances are wider. You have wider ramps, you have wider kind of pathways. Here, a lot more narrow, a lot more choky. This is more standard, I should say. Like a map like Tourmaline is a lot more standard. This does make it more difficult for Zerg players to engage, right? Just because there are more choke points that can be abused by tank fire, by splash damage, and just kind of funneling the army in. And because Tourmaline is so open, that means that allowed for Serral to have those engagements on the left-hand side, to be able to flank the army with as much as he was, and to be able to punish Maru for at times overextending. Or for not being aware of the army location. But GG well played. Now coming into Tourmaline, I would say this is an easier map to turtle on. Like I would say that coming to title, I would say that Tourmaline is one of the harder maps to turtle on because it's so open. So you have to invest so much more into actually walling off areas. Here, as you can see, we have these very narrow entrances. We have these narrow ramps where you can set up defensively, you can siege up, and it's going to be much more difficult for Serral to push into these expansions. I'd say the most open base is probably the center expansion here. Now, on the flip side, on the one hand, yes, these expansions are a lot more turtley, they're a lot more defendable, but they're very spread out. They're very spread out. So the distance it takes for someone to rotate back and forth between these bases is longer on Title Citadel. It's longer on Title. I'm bringing that up just because I would imagine we're going to be there every game of this series. Or at least Maru wants to force that kind of late game and that turtle style every game in this series. As we have a third CC. So 3 CC before starport. This time we have a standard economic opener. If you remember last game, it was a 2-on-1. It was a 3 CC 2-on-1 into a stim timing. Not this time. Meanwhile, back at home, Serral, he is just droning, saturating, taking his gases. This time he's getting link speed. Remember, last game, Serral, he went 2-base Roach. He went 2-base Roach into a Roach all-in. The all-in failed, and then he was forced into a longer game. Here, we're just calming down. We're droning up. We go. As Maru does go for his 1-1-1. Now, last game we saw Bio into eventual mech. Here, now that we go for a 3CC 1-1-1, mech is an option, so we have to keep an eye on that for extra factories. Overlord Scout is denied. And Maru goes for double eBay. Important to take note of, it's going to be Bio. So double eBay, fast 1-on-1 upgrades. Serral is unaware. He's being zoned away. And that's going to be a lair first. Not as fast as last game, but it's going to be a lair first out of Serral. Yana. Let's go. I mean, he does play golf. Is it a stretch for him to play disc golf as well? I don't know. There we go. Serral does go for his Baneliness, so he's opening up Ling Bane this time. So Ling Bane out of Serral. Meanwhile, we have our Bio follow-up out of Maru. Now, what I'm most curious by is my assumption on this game, if you recall in this series, is that Maru would play for the late game every single time. But because of the double eBay follow-up here, and because it was so quick and so fast, there is a build that Maru is very fond of, which can take advantage of this, which is fast 1-1 into fast 2-2 into an 8-rack 3-base all-in. Right now, we have 4 racks on the way. That's going to be a 5-rack setup in total, and we'll see if he throws down extra raxes and if he delays his gases or just skips them entirely. Meanwhile, Serral going Ling Bane Muta. Okay, Muta play is typically seen a lot more on larger maps like Winter Madness or White Rabbit. Seeing it here is definitely an option. It's definitely viable, but we'll see if Serral can get away with it. I'm a little bit concerned about the eventual timing and the eventual move up from Maru. Maru's working on the armory, working on that 2-2 timing. Eyes are still on Maru. Overseer goes in. So he scouts the main base for the first time. He does confirm all the Raxes. He likewise... I mean, it's a little bit too early to take gases at the third base. But Serral, he will get into his mutas. Okay. The mutas will pop. Serral, he will gain map control. And I'm not so sure that Maru can do much about that. I mean, again, currently Maru, he has 0 scouting information. He has not seen the natural. So mutas are coming. Now, the downside of going to mutas is how late the Eva chambers are. Like, 2-2 is about to begin for Maru, and we have 0-0 for Serral. So there's a lot riding on these mutas. There's a lot that needs to be done. Yeah, as mutas are trying to make their way across the map. Maru does drop. There's a second factory on the way that tells us Maru's macroing. And he does find the queens. Oh no! The queens overextend. Clutch chance use. Does save one. Does barely save the queens. Ling Bane going to be collapsing in. And Serral, does he get on top of the tank? He does. Yeah, he shuts down the tank, shuts down the push. Job is forced to be picked up. And Serral, he will... Oh, he actually does not shut this down. Yeah, barely enough Banelings. The Baneling count wasn't there. Maru, he's going to keep pushing. The mutas, they failed to get across the map. 0 economic damage. And Maru, he's here to kill. He's here to just kill his opponent. Ling Bane having a hard time engaging. Pushing into tank fire. Nice kiting. Nice splits. He spreads decently well. And now there are no Banelings left. Oh, no, there's some. Okay, there's some Banelings left over. Serral, he should hold on. He has built up enough. Maru's going to be forced back. Oh. And as the game is settling down, the mutas, they failed to really get across the map. Of course, had to be used defensively. So back at home, Maru, he's freely saturating his 3 bases. 4 CCs on the way. Maru, he's building up into his 4-base economy. Meanwhile, Serral, he was able to survive the aggression, but again, he's still catching up when it comes to upgrades. 1-1 is finishing up as 2-2 will complete for Maru. And the game will continue. Maru checking with the gold. Let's check for the gold expansion. So does go for the counter attack, catching out a Thor, not bad. Thor goes down, Lings, they do slip into the mineral line, catching reinforcements, and they should be finding some SCVs. Yeah, 1, 2 SCVs go down, nothing major here. Mutas, they do collapse into the main, but surprisingly not much damage. Jesus. Yeah, in the end, only 4 SCVs. Yeah, nice defense here by Maru. Serral does not get much done. So from here, going to be forced away. Gonna be forced back. Both armies are about to max. Maru expanding towards Serral. Spanning here in the center. And again, that 3-3, I mean, 3-3 is going to be a big timing once again for Maru. So upgrades are on the way. Maru, he's torn. He can't quite turn around. He gets caught out instead. So be careful. As he is lacking Widow Mines. Still rallying across me while the starport goes down. That was a kill. Ay, ay, ay. Now, as we go for the mutas, at the same time, the goal base is going to be shut down. That's going to be a kill as well. No cancel. So it does let it finish. Oh. Muta gets caught out. And so still trying to keep up. Again, thankfully there aren't too many Widow Mines for the main army. Oof. Say that mine shot goes off. Yeah, Serral being lured into an alleyway, lured into a choke point. Mutas, they do find some damage though. Go for the backstab once again. Maru, he just wants to push. He just wants to commit. He wants to commit across the map. Mutas, they find more SCVs. They're going for the production line. Maru, he wants to just go for the kill. 3-3 will finish in the middle of this fight. Good as Thor, good as Priest Red. Mine shots going up. Oof. Big connections. And Maru, he's gaining ground. At the same time, Mutas are still not really finding much damage. They kill a turret. They deny some mining. You know, Maru, he kills more bases. Serral, he's in a rough position here. He's still stuck on 4 expansions. He needs a 5th base. He needs a 5th. Yeah, currently Serral, he's on an even base count with his opponents. That's why Serral, he has no bank. There's no bank to work with. Maru, he has momentum. He rotates over. Once again, the score base is going to be shut down. These mutas have been harassing. They've been finding some damage. Finally, no turret. Yeah, no turret in the main base. SCVs finally go down. Lings, they do hit the 3rd. SCVs are falling left and right. But at the same time, Maru, he pushes in. He's paying attention. Oh no, no splits! Yeah, no split, no reaction. Ay, ay, ay. Maru, he was inattentive, looking elsewhere. Focusing on the mutas. Does kill the expansion. Does get the base. We're getting messy. We're getting messy, papi. So still fighting his hard out once again back into the main. Maru, he wants to break out. Back at home, there's a decent amount of Ling Bane. And Maru moving in. There should have been enough Ling Bane. Yeah, there's enough Ling Bane. Yeah, there's enough Banelings here, just covering the entire army. Marines, they get cleaned up, they get shut down. And Serral is holding. Oh, he does hold on. Deals with the main army, still plenty of Banelings left over. Rolling in once again. Oh, pushing off a creep. Serral gets baited, losing every single muta. Oh my god. And Maru's going for it. He's going for the kill. Remember, Maru, he has a super maxed army. He's down in SCVs, he's down in workers, but he's up in army. And Serral did overextend. At the same time, backstabbing with more mutas. But remember, Serral's still having a hard time saturating his bases. He has regained the bottom left. He's got the gold. Maru's now aware. And once again, it's just going to rotate. Once again, Maru, he takes down one expansion, another. Serral is still lacking that economy. As another expansion goes down, Maru has eyes set on the gold base. Maru's at least able to, Serral's at least able to mine a little bit from the gold. A little bit. But again, this army is still terrifying. Serral has to fight, he collapses in. There are so many Marauders though. Jesus, so many Marauders. They tank the Banelings. And Maru takes the fight. Takes down the expansion. Serral still has limited mining. Still limited. Decent catch. Catching out a drop. Oof. Does take a shot to the face. Does take a mine shot. Maru once again pushing in, once again trying to deny that expansion. Decent juggling Bane here for Serral. Deals with the first wave. And now comes with the mutas. Okay, Serral holds. Yeah, Serral, he's holding on, he's defending. Oh my god. Gotta respect the Widow Mines. Gotta respect it. But remember, Maru has a larger army. He's had a larger army for quite some time at this point. A massive force to work with. He's pushing in. Mining is denied the gold. And this might just be too much. This might be too much at this point. Baneling connections, they're not good enough. Mutas a backstab at the center expansion. And Serral is broke. He just has no mining. No mining back. Has 10 SCVs go down, but we still have plenty of mules. Or has another planetary. And Serral just never got a fifth. He just never got a fifth base up. For the past 10 minutes, he's been trying. He's been trying to hold on to a fifth expansion, but it just has not happened. Oh. Yeah, mine shots are going off. Once again, the fifth base is denied. There's not many Banelings here. There's not much to defend. And the expansion goes down. And again, this has just been the wing edition for Maru, I should say. Just time and time again. Maru, he has not pushed into the fourth. Like, either fourth location he has not touched. It's all about the fifth. It's all about denying the fifth base. Fighting on the edge of creep. The mutas have been harassing, but there's been no critical damage. No critical damage done. Serral being bullied back. And Serral doesn't have the supply to survive the push. To survive the move out. He can fight at a portion of the time though. Catching out some Marines. At least trying to. Distracting Maru. Main army moves in. Once again, Serral just can't expand. Marines, they slim away. And Serral just can't engage. He cannot expand. He just wants a fifth base, Pappy. And yeah, Serral's just been bullied here for the past 10 minutes. He just cannot get a base up and running. Again, the muta harass has been okay. it's been distracting more than anything. It's been giving him some time. We can see Maru rotates. There's no expansion. There's just no base to kill. There's nothing there, Bappy. And now his eyes are on the gold. And they're on the gold base. Oof. Catching at the mutas. That's what, 4 or 5 mutas going down. Massive pickoffs. And again, I mean, shout out to Serral for valiantly trying to like hold on and trying to expand and trying to harass. The mutas, unfortunately, they were able to pick off some production buildings, but no meaningful economic damage. Just didn't happen. Patching out some of the Marines, forcing friendly fire. Okay. Best fight that Serral could have hoped for. Jesus. But again, Serral just cannot fight the main army. And here comes Maru once again. He wants that 5th base. He's gonna get it. Just deny the 5th. And for the first time in 20 minutes, he pushes it. GG. GG gets called. Maru, he does tie the series 1-1. GG. Ay, ay, ay. Again, once again, very measured play here out of Maru. Again, that was like, what, the first time he'd actually push in towards the 4th base and into one of the actual core expansions after denying the 5th base for so long. Serral just could not expand. Ideally, when you go into mutas like this, you're supposed to gain map control, right? You gain map control, you keep the Terran player busy back at home. But remember, when we first saw the muta play, it was he was forced to defend, right? The mutas, they didn't get across the map. He was forced to be defensive. He was forced to deal with the initial push, the 7-minute move outs, the 2-2 timing of Maru, and because of that, a lot of mutas went down. He was stuck defending, and that gave time for Maru to build up his side defense, his turrets back at home, and of course mentally prepare for the muta play. And we saw that the mutas, they failed to get any meaningful damage. Every now and then they get a couple of SCVs, like 2, 3, 4 SCVs at a time, maybe the starport, maybe a Rax, but again, no meaningful economic damage. Maru could sustain himself. He could sustain himself. GG, well played. With that, Maru does have the series. Now we're going to be loading into game number 3, and we'll see who takes the lead in this series. Let's go. We're going to be loading into Celestial Enclave. Now, when it comes to Serral's muta play here, we don't really expect to see too much of that this series. In a best of 7, we might see this on White Rabbits or on Winter Madness, or technically we could see it here as well. There's a couple of key maps where it's a little bit more favored on. We'll see. Spawning in the top right hand corner of Celestial Enclave, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Red Terran representing Team Vitality. It is Maru. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the Finnish Zerg player. We have the Blue Zerg representing Basilisk. It is Serral. Here we go. And again, last game, Serral, he was struggling for the past, 10 minutes trying to get a 5th base. He was just trying and desperately could not expand, couldn't get a 5th base, could not maintain his own economy, couldn't keep up with Maru. But here we're loading into Celestial Enclave, where turtle play and macro play is favored, is a little more favored here. There's a very high chance that Maru is able to cut some corners, be greedy, get a faster 3rd, get a faster 4th base, and turtle up back at home. We spoke about this previously. We saw this in the Reynor series, we saw this in game 1, but if Maru can slow the game down to a crawl and force out like a longer macro, like 30, 40, 50 hour long game, he will do so. he'll do it. We've already seen it. That's when Maru's at his best. One of the reasons why Maru was so aggressive last game is because of the muta play, right? It was a reaction to what Serral was doing. Meanwhile, a hatch, pool, hatch, gasless opener out of Serral. Okay. Does open up gasless. This is a very greedy build here by Serral, but because of the map itself, it is safe to do so. If you remember, we were actually theorizing gasless openers in the ZVZ between Rogue and Reynor for the same reason. So the reason why you can skip your gases here is because there's only one entrance. There's one entrance into your natural, main base, and 3rd. There's only one area that you have to focus on to defend against. So Hellion run-bys and Hellion harassment is very weak on this map, on Celestial Enclave, so you can delay link speed. There's no need. You do not need link speed here. You can just get your natural and get your 3rd base up and running. Either third base, really. So Serral is being greedy and he's going for the pocket expansion. Maru so far going for a standard opener. Racks expand into factory. Oh, as one drone goes down, that should not have happened. Does he get two? Jesus. Yeah, one drone kill. Better start for Maru. Does pull out. And Maru does go for the third CC on location. So both players are being greedy. Both players are being quite greedy here. I would say that Serral is maybe being a little bit more greedy than usual just because it is going to be gasless. Now, for those who are curious, because your gases are so late, that typically means that Serral is going to be skipping link speed. He'll skip link speed, he'll go straight into roaches, and then he can go roach into infestor into ultra tech. That's kind of the trajectory that we're imagining here for Serral. Technically, we could see roach infestor into spire into mutas. But after game 2, I don't really see mutas 2 games in a row. I also don't know how if I'm... Oh, so that's a second drone kill. Oh my god. Second drone goes down. The high value Reaper. Even scouts confirming lack of gases. Or delayed gases. What I was getting at is, I was talking about how, okay, so this looks like a roach base opener in towards infestors and towards ultras. At the same time, and there's that roach warren, again, no surprise. But at the same time, I don't know how valuable, how useful ultra is going to be here in Celestial, because there are so many choke points. As you can see here, a choke point coming in towards the linear 4th base. You have a choke point here in the center. Like, there's a lot of points of elevation. It's a lot more defensive. I don't really see ultras being too useful or too successful here on Celestial Enclave. It's going to be a tough one here for Serral. The map is just going to be favoring Maru when it comes to turtling up and building up. Lair is on the way. It's going to be a sub 420 lair timing. That was at like 417. So early lair. Again, skipping link speed. Should be some roach play. What if Maru can win a late game too? I mean, if you're watching game 1, I feel like the answer is yes. If you're watching the first game of the series, Maru, he had the advantage for a long time despite it being a rougher map for him. I would say it's very map dependent, but if we're talking about a map like Celestial Enclave, like, I feel like Serral should be trying to strike earlier. But we'll see what Serral does with his tech. Again, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Serral. Roach production has begun. If we do end up in a late game situation though, because of the map, there's a high chance that we might even see faster Broodlord tech out of Serral instead. True. That would be a way to like counter the map or try to work with it. Does keep over the Hellions. Serral's not joining. Okay, he's going for the all-in. Serral, he's not joining up his 4th base. No, never mind. Delay drones. He is making 3 extra workers. We'll see if he makes any more than that. We have 11 roaches on the way. We have 3 drones on the way. There it is. Yeah, he's all in. Okay, so he's going for the all-in. So roaches plus 1 carapace. This is actually very, very similar to last game, actually. I'm sorry, to the game on Tourmaline. Because Tourmaline, Serral had gone for a roach all-in, it failed, and then we ended up in a macro game. Then we ended up in the late game. So here comes the all-in. Again, it makes sense. Maru's going to be favored in a longer game, so Serral, he has to end the game early. Knocking down those rocks. Can he break through? He's breaking through. We can see that Maru, he does have vision. He knows. No reaction. Yeah, delayed reaction out of Maru. Roaches they bust in. And it's all or nothing for Serral. He does get into the natural base. Again, late reactions here out of Maru. The tank does siege, but it's far back. And the army does stint forward. Serral forced to engage. There's so far one tank in the back line. Maru, he's holding on his buying time for his production. Raxes are being denied. Boys are being pulled. The Biles, he gets a tank. Tank goes down. But at the same time, sorry, Serral, he's just running out of bio. He's running out of roaches. Yeah, he's running out of steam. He's running out of steam. He's being bullied back here. The all-in's failing. He does kill 18 SCVs. Does kill a bunch of workers, but Maru is still ahead economically. He's still ahead economically. He could afford to lose those workers. That's far ahead Maru was. That's how far ahead he was. And Serral's looking for another way in. Oof, now he starts a drone. Serral, he admits that the all-in has failed. And he should not push into this. Serral, he's going to try to trade and he might get the tank. No, he doesn't. Doesn't get the tank. Serral, he will lose everything. Every single roach. GG gets called. The all-in fails. And Maru will take game number 3. GG. Whew. GG, well played, Maru. He does take a lead in the series. Again, I was really, if you remember, I was like doing some mental gymnastics trying to think like, how does Serral approach the late game here on Celestial? Because I was thinking, I was like, ultras won't really work here, mutas won't really work here. The one thing that I could think of was to rush into Broodlords, was to maybe go for a Broodlord rush, but instead Serral just went for the all-in, which again makes sense. He went for the all-in here, but alas, Maru, he was able to react in time, pull back in time, and shut it down. GG. GG, well played. With that, we have Maru with the lead. Does take a lead in the series, and now we're loading into White Rabbit. Oh boy. Now, what I will emphasize here is a Celestial Enclave, that is the most defensive map in the map pool. That's the extreme, right? Like, we're done with the extreme. It prompted the all-in. It made sense for Serral to commit to that, but now we're done with that. Now we do have more accessible maps and more accessible bases, and more potential for a back and forth. Let's go. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of White Rabbits, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Red Terran. Yeah, the Red Terran representing Team Vitality. It is Maru. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the Finnish Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing Basilisk. Down in the series, we'll see if he bounces back. It is Serral. Here we go. We're getting into game number 4 here, and we're loading into White Rabbit. Okay, so coming into White Rabbit, this is a large map. True, it's a large map in the map pool, but similar to Title Citadel, the bases are a little bit more spread out. But unlike Title Citadel, the bases are more open. You can see here a massive entrance into the linear third base. You have 2 entrances here in towards the towards the triangular third. Likewise, the bases are just more spread out. They're a little bit more accessible. I would say that it is more difficult to turtle up on this map than on others of similar size. So Serral, he shouldn't be afraid of the late game here. We can see Hatchcast Pool, standard opener out of Serral. He shouldn't be as afraid as on Celestial. We mentioned this before, but Mutaplay is back on the table. True. So potential Spire, potential Mutaplay. Otherwise, standard Ling Bane is what we're expecting. From the side of Maru, this is where the turns table, right? Because this map, it's more difficult to turtle up on, I'm expecting Maru to be the aggressor instead, right? Like, our players, they typically adapt and adjust to the maps themselves. We've seen that every game. We've seen that every game. There's a reason why Serral went for the all-in on Tourmaline, because it was a smaller map and it favors that kind of style. There's a reason why Serral went for the all-in on Celestial, because he wanted to avoid the late game. So we'll see. We'll see how our players do adjust. We'll see how they adapt. As we've seen many a player attempt and struggle to turtle up on White Rabbit. Not impossible, just more difficult. As Reaper does pick in. If you remember, the Reaper last game did kill 2 drones. Which also may have kind of leaned into the idea of going for an all-in after the rough early game. Third CC out of Maru, once again the same opener. going 3 CC before Starport. Now, we have yet to see mech this series. True. I mean, we kind of saw a little bit of mech on Tourmaline towards the end of the game, but that's like a standard transition. Eyes are on Maru. Going for his 3 CC Banshee. Or at least looks to be the case. There's that tech lab for the add-on swap. And we'll keep an eye on the follow production. Keep an eye on the follow-up. As Serral, he's actually... Okay, never mind. He does move out. He does delay the 3rd CC. Behind this, making a safety amount of lings. I just saw a bunch of lings in the production tab, and my alarm bells were like ringing. I was like, wait, what? But just making them defensively. Just to keep up with the Hellions. Serral gets a full scout of the main base. He confirms 111. He sees lack of research on the tech lab. But he's aware of the Banshee. He's aware. Once again, Serral's being active with those links. Does make extra links behind this as well. He's ready for a backstab. Ready for a counterattack. Meanwhile, it's going to be lair first out of Serral. So once again, he's opening up lair first. He's going for delayed Evo chambers, delayed upgrades. Meanwhile, it is going to be bio out of Maru, Stim, and double eBay. So no mech. Getting into bio. Again, we're calming down. Lings, oh, they run into the Hellions. Ideally, they were hoping that the Hellions had moved out. So nice defense out of Maru. Defends well. And just like we saw on Tidal Citadel, we do have the 4-axe follow-up into 5 axes. So far, it looks like a standard game. We can turn this into a 3-base all-in, but so far we're just building up into our bio mid-game and towards that 7-minute timing. Oh, meanwhile, for the first time this series, it is going to be Ling Bane Hydra, or I kind of misspoke here. Really, it's just Ling Hydra. There's no Baneling Nest. Yeah, delayed Baneling Nest, delayed Baneling Speed. This is a little bit risky. True, it's very, very risky here. Hydras in high numbers can hold their own in the mid-game, but early on, you are going to be vulnerable here against pressure due to the lack of Banelings. So this is a risky playstyle. It is similar to what we see out of players like Shin and players like Solar. It's similar. They go for 3-base Hydra all-ins. This is more of a macro game, though. Now, because we're investing into +1 range here from Serral, of course he has to because he's skipping Banelings, but this also does kind of indicate potentially a Lurker follow-up in the later game. We haven't seen Lurkers yet in this series, but that's kind of the direction that we're heading in. Now we have the delayed Baneling Nest. I do appreciate that Serral has done something different every game. We've seen Roach all-ins, we've seen Mutaplay, and now we're seeing fast Hydras and committed Hydras. So something different. Meanwhile, here we go. 7-minute push. It's here. It's 7 minutes. Maru's moving out. Banshee distracting on the right. Main army towards the left. The armory is done, so these Hellions can morph into Hellbats and they can protect the tanks. Ideally. The Hellions are in position. Hydras are revealed. Oh, Maru, calm down. I don't think that was intentional, but does mule Serral. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, tanks, they just go to town here on the Hydras. And without Zerglings here, these Hydras are exposed. They do barely focus on both tanks. But an expensive defense here for Serral. At the same time, being run by is denied. Yeah, Maru, he wants those Hydras. He's going to focus them down. Heavy losses here for Serral. Aye, aye, aye. And this is the risk you take, not going into Banelings, right? He chose not to go Banelings. Losing so many Hydras. Serral will defend, but expensive defense. Yeah, losing 14 Hydras. Aye, aye, aye. Remember, the purpose of this build was to build up a high Hydra count, a heavy Hydra count, and he's not getting there. So that was a successful push here from Maru. He traded well. The drops continue, and Maru's expanding. And Maru's getting his 4th base. Now dropping the right-hand side, he does get scouted. Serral is aware. Jeez, the hatchery is so low. that was all done by the one Banshee, by the way. It was just the one Banshee going to town on that hatchery, and it almost killed it. The hatchery. Once again, the game is slowing down. We're building up. 3 CCs get thrown down, so Maru, he's now starting to turtle up. No surprises here. We're starting to turtle on up. But again, I will say that this map is more open, it's more exposed, it's more difficult to pull this off on. As Maru, he has to invest quite heavily here into SimCity. And into spreading himself thin. Ooh, full medevac goes down. Nice defense here by Serral. Catching out the full medevac. Maru stimming in. He wants that expansion. Can he get it? Can he get the base? He can. Just barely. He'll pick up. Does pull away. Losing 1 Marine. Very clutch. Yeah, takes down the expansion. Drops back into the main base. Won't quite get much more damage though. It trades with the Zerglings. It does trade. Lings go down. Gets a Hydra as well. Nice value here from Maru. Focusing down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drones. Oh my god. Crazy damage. 5 drones, a Hydra, Zerglings, denying, of course, mining time, distracting his opponent. And again, Maru's turtling up. He's turtling on up. Meanwhile, we do have that Lurker Den. As we mentioned at the very beginning of the game, when we saw +1 range, that was kind of telegraphing the eventual Lurker tech. So Lurkers are on the way. It's going to be Ling Bane, Lurker Viper. Or Hydra Lurker Viper. So does attempt to collapse in. Not quite able to. Again, this is a brutal position. The tanks are set up. Serral attempting to flank. Actually just going for a straight up counter attack. Okay. Managed to try to move in. But so far, this is a solid siege line and a planetary as well. Wow, defensive planetary. Maru, he's secure back at home. I did mention earlier how this map is more difficult to turtle up on, and that's why Maru had to invest into even a planetary to defend. But I mean, it's working. I wouldn't even be opposed to a planetary here on the right hand side either. But it does take more to defend. Oh, that's another hatchery goes down. So we're fighting for those fringe expansions. Serral does have a very mobile composition. Very mobile. And the goal here for Serral should be to deny these bases and potentially even break one of the expansions. Serral does have map control. Or at least he should. Army coming in from behind. Maru trying to catch him out. Serral does pull away. Coming in from behind, surrounds one of the ghosts. Not bad. Just get one ghost. And the tank. And another tank goes down. And here come the lurkers. The lurkers are coming. Double Spire, I do like this. As opposed to every other game in the series so far, when approaching the late game, Serral, he's much faster here at embracing Double Spire. And getting ready for Broodlords. We never saw the Broodlords on Tourmaline, if you recall. That was one of our biggest criticisms on Tourmaline. But Serral, he's much more prepared, much more willing. Serral does set up another counterattack. Maru likewise moving in. Nidus on the way. And this time Maru's looking secure. He's ready for a backstab. Serral just cannot engage. The base goes down. A better trade here for Maru. At the same time, lurkers are moving in. Lurkers are slowly gaining ground. And Maru, he responds. He pulls everything back. Ooh, these lurkers have to get the hell out of here. Losing one, two. Two lurkers go down. And so he's going to commit. Yeah, he's going to commit here. The ghosts are out of position. Tank's going to be going down. Better engage here from Serral. And catching Maru mid-rotation. Oh, going for the Marine. Oh, no! Yeah, massive connections. Marines get caught out. And Maru, again, caught completely with his pants down here. He was caught mid-rotation. Losing, what was that, 5? Losing 7 tanks. 7 tanks go down. Now, Maru didn't lose any ghosts. He lost 1. So he at least kept his ghosts alive, but losing all those tanks was brutal. And now suddenly there's an opening, right? Suddenly there's an opening. It does mean that bottom right is more accessible. Serral does have momentum. He's getting 1-1 upgrades at the same time. Ultra Caverns on the way. Serral has to rebuild. And again, this is where the size of the map and how open the map is coming into play. There are more opportunities for Serral to engage, even here, for example. Yeah, speaking of, he just goes for it. Yeah, he just goes for the dive. Again, this area is just so wide open. Maru gets caught out, bleeding out all of his bio. Ghosts do get away, but there's still just so much Ling Bane left over. Oh my god. Serral plays it safe. Lurkers on the right hand side, going for the planetary. Going for the planetary. And without repairs, okay, there's repair going on. Oh, Fungal doesn't quite land. Tanks are moving in position, so he gets bullied. He gets pushed back, and Maru holds. So a nice hold here by Maru. He pulls back to a siege line. Maru can hold. But again, these were some rough fights from Maru. 2 in a row. Meanwhile, Serral, because of this aggression, and this is a big difference between what happened on Tourmaline. On Tourmaline, Maru was rotating time and time again, knocking down expansions. Here, Serral has map control, and Serral, he's maintaining center left and center right. So crucial mining bases here for Serral. The one criticism I have is that he doesn't have the gases. He should take them as quickly as possible. Once again, catching at a couple of stray tanks. Yeah, one tank goes down. Moving in on the right. Planetary does fall. And Maru just cannot keep up. He cannot keep up, not like this. Again, we started this game talking about how difficult it is on White Rabbit to turtle up like this in such a way. It's just so much more accessible for the aggressing player. So much more accessible. This is not Celestial. This is not Winter Madness. The rabbit is white back. Yeah. And you can see Serral setting with the flank. Okay. Setting up for the flank, collapsing in, trying to catch out the army. Can he surround? He can. Oh my god. Yeah, locks down the army. Cleans up the bio. At the same time, that is into the main, which will be shut down. And this doesn't quite finish. Now, Serral still does lose the expansion. True. And again, the lack of gases here is concerning to me. Now we're taking gases. Now, it's not like Serral needs gas, but the important thing about taking these gases is that these are resources that he's taking away from Maru, and he failed to do so here. Because if Serral doesn't end the game soon, there's a higher chance that Maru will eventually take these expansions himself. Eventually. As lurkers that get behind the mineral line. Maru does deny the center left base. At the same time, Serral, he repositions here towards the south side. And what is it to defend? We got 4 straight tanks. Like, they're on their own. Tanks are on their own. Maru's out of position. He does miss the rotation, and Maru should lose his expansion. Yeah, that's going to be 2 tanks going down, losing 3, losing all 4. All 4 tank kills, 18 SCVs. And from here, Serral now taking up Greater Spire. Greater Spire is on the way, +3 is on the way. Maru, he does rotate over and he does eventually defend this location, but again, some heavy losses in the process. Maru, he's running through that bank. Serral, he does prioritize saturation here on the gas geysers, but alas, there is a nuke. He does notice. Does he? Up. He does. Cashing out the ghost. Once again, Maru, he's over on the left-hand side. So there are some vulnerabilities here. Maru, he's racing over. I would say that not knocking down these rocks is hurting Maru more than anything. Like, these rotations are so late. And once again, the CC goes down. Once again, Maru out of position. We spoke earlier about the distance in between the bases and how it's longer on this map. It's also coming into play. And Serral just has to keep rotating. Bold move out of Maru, Jesus. Bold move, does take it top left. Sorry, center left. Does take the expansion. Serral's not fully aware. Mass Mana Mule here, or Mass Mule Hammer on the base. And Maru, yeah, he's heading on over. He's rotating towards left-hand side, which means once again this expansion's exposed. Not just the base, but also the tanks. Tanks are on their own. A big misread out of Maru. He's now racing back over. Oh, the ghost. The ghost! Oh my god, massive fungal! Serral comes in for the surround and he does catch him out. Massive connections. Ay. Once again, caught mid-rotation. Maru losing everything, all the ghosts, all the tanks, and now Serral can rotate. Now we can rotate over, and now we can knock down this expansion. They can head on over. Oh, the mule hammer back. As Maru actually does maintain the expansion. Okay. Does actually hold on to the base. Serral making his way over. Now these tanks are naked. There's the scan. But Maru's over on the right. He's over on the right hand side. Like he cannot respond. Oh my god, massive mine shots. Massive mine shots, but the base goes down. Planetary as well. All these fresh mules, they're gonna fall. The fresh mules back. But again, Maru, he's just been so spread thin here. And has been abused for it. So rotating back around. Now his target should be this expansion. So he's rotating over. And does Maru read this? He's staying in the center. Yeah, he's staying in the center of the map. Once again, as we mentioned, these rocks are still kind of hindering his movement in between the bases. Maru, he somewhat responds. Okay. I mean, kind of. He splits up his army. So we have all the ghosts on the left-hand side. So ghosts are going to be late to this engagement, late to the fight. Oh, massive mine shots though. Massive mine connections. And Maru, he was in position. This time he's ready. This time he was ready for it. Maru stabilizing. Earlier, Maru, he was stuck rotating back and forth and back again between the bases, but this time he has a large enough army to actually have units in position. So this is the moment where things are swinging in favor of Maru. The game here is changing course. Serral did an amazing job knocking down expansions, but Maru has stabilized. He has stabilized, takes down center right. This base is secure. So is top left. Broodlords now coming in. These are 3-3 Broodlords. Sorry, 3-2. 3-2 Broodlords. Soon to be 3-3. How many infestors? 9. 9 infestors. A really nice Broodlord switch here from Serral. Getting into Broodlord Infestor. We got there in the end. We got there. We need to hit a support. And I think I do favor Serral in a head-on fight. A head-on engagement. Here we go. The Broodlords, they turn back around. Maru has to get the hell out of here. Has to pull away. Oof. Has to pull back. Ooh, Maru did take down center right, though. Both players are starving. Both players have limited economies. Serral has a lot of minerals, but he does not have a lot of gas. Right, the gas income here is not what it needs to be for Serral. Speaking of, gas guys are going down. Oh! Go safe on this game. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my god, so many Broodlords get sniped. Yeah, mass EMP as well. As Serral, he was inattentive. If as they were too far back. And Maru, he trades. Just mass snipes on the Broodlords. Serral is struggling. He's trying to rebuild his Broodlord count. Getting up to 6 Broodlords, that's not much. And Maru, he takes center right. If you remember, this is why it was important. It was so crucial that Serral was mining these gases. To take resources away from the Terran. Because there's a very high chance that Maru would eventually take this expansion himself. And he does. Does take it. Focus coming in. Grays in the army. And there's still only 6 Broodlords though. The DPS apple just isn't there. Going for the nuke, zoning back the army. Serral risky maneuver here. Wait, does he not notice? Okay, he does. Pulls away. Queens get caught. Maru's pushing in, and Serral, he's broke. Serral, he's broke. He cannot max out. Oh, snipes are brutal. Punishing the Broodlords. And Maru's doing it. He breaks the expansion. That's all that matters. Maru, he denies center left. He takes his own. Yep, GG gets called. Serral, he's run out of money, and Maru takes a further lead in the series, 3-1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Maru, he extends his lead here. Again, winding it back, I would say that Serral had a much stronger mid to late game, knocking down expansions after expansion, but we did emphasize everything changed when Maru stabilized, when he was able to build up his siege lines both on the southern and northern bases. That's when we had to make that switch into Broodlords, and we did see that switch. Serral, he switched into Mass Broodlord, but there was a bit of inattentiveness, and he lost, what was it, 5-6 Broodlords on the left hand side. It was a big blow to his Broodlord account when he was inattentive. His Overseers were too far back, his Infestors were too far back, he overextended, and he lost so many Broodlords to the Ghosts. That was the moments that Maru took momentum away from Serral even further. The Broodlord switch in the end was shut down. And with that, we're getting into game number 5 here. Maru needs one more game to claim the series. Serral, he's up against the wall, and we're now going to be entering a smaller map of the map pool. We're going to be loading into Ruby Rock. Interesting. So we're going from some of the larger maps into the smaller maps. Aggression here is favored. There's a higher chance we see roaches out of Serral. Much higher chance. Well, let's go. Spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Ruby Rock, we have the finished Zerg player. We have the blue Zerg. The blue Zerg player himself, representing Basilisk, down in the series and one lot away from being knocked out. And for the series ending, for the tournament ending, it is Serral. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Terran player. We have the red Terran representing Team Vitality, going for the proxy Turax. It is Maru. Now I misspoke. It's 1, it's 2, it's 3. 3 SCVs, proxy 3 racks out of Maru. Ay. Hyper aggressive, hyper committed. This is dangerous here, and we'll see how Serral does open up and how he reacts, how he responds. Now, a couple of things here. Serral, he won't scout this. He won't scout the Raxes, but he will have this Overlord at the natural base. So the Overlord will scout the SCVs and will scout the bunkers. Now, as a reminder, this is going to be a Marine bunker rush here by Maru. Ideally, Maru wants to hide an SCV. He wants to hide one of these SCVs and make it look like he's going for a proxy Turax. Because the Overlord won't see the proxy itself, Serral has limited information as to confirming whether it's 2 or 3 Raxes, and each one has a different response, right? Against a proxy 2 Rax, you can react a little bit harder and pull the boys and fight for your natural. Against a 3 Rax, you have to be more careful because there's going to be a higher Marine count to punish the boys being pulled. So if you pull the boys against proxy 3 Rax, there's a higher chance you get punished, you get shot down for it, and the bunker finishes and everything snowballs out of control. So this can kill. This can just straight up kill. We'll see. We'll see how Serral reacts. As Maru here does move in, as you can see, he reveals 2 SCVs. Again, he's trying to make it look like a proxy Turax. He reveals 2 SCVs. That should prompt Serral to pull the boys. Yep, there we go. The boys are being pulled to deny these bunkers and to chase the Marines. Now, Maru, he wants Serral to chase the Marine. He wants him to chase. 3rd SCV is revealed. We have more Marines on the way. And Serral, he has to micro back. He has to make sure he doesn't lose too many drones. There we go. 1 drone going down, losing 1, losing 2, losing 3, 4 drones. It's getting out of hand. It's getting out of hand here, and he gets punished. 6 drones going down, losing almost up to 7. That's a lot of economic damage. The bunker is almost done. 2 SCVs still survive. And it's forced to cancel. Whew, it's forced to cancel. The Queen is about to pop, and with the Queen arriving, Serral should hold. Serral, he should be able to hold on, but there's still 2 SCVs with the army. There's still more rallying in. There we go. 2nd Queen does arrive. And Serral should be okay. He should be okay here. Did lose a lot of workers pulling the boys into the bio army. And behind this, Maru, he either floats back home or he starts some tech labs. Like, you can see the Overlord checking. Serral, we could see Maru pull the boys again. Yeah, he does. He does pull the... The Overlord, no! Okay, he sees. He barely does see this. I don't know if you noticed, but Maru, he waited for the Overlord to pull away. But the boys are being pulled. Maru's completely all in. And Serral, he has no spine crawler. He has no safety spine crawler. But he is massing up his own Zerglings. It's going to be a very close hold here for Serral. It's going to be very close, very clutch. And thankfully he's not droning, right? Because he saw the boys being pulled, he's not droning. Otherwise, that could be game. Serral, I believe he should have enough to defend here, but it comes down to the engagement. He gets in. Yeah, he's trying to reduce that surface area. Rotates back around. A nice movement here by Maru. Free damage with the Marines. The Lings are going down. They now try to engage, but once again, nice kiting. Yeah, Marines, they kite away. Lings are falling. And Maru's done it. Maru, he has broken. Serral breaks all the Zerglings. Yes, on top of the Queens. And with that, there's nothing left. Serral has been broken. Hands off the keyboard. GG, well played. And Maru, he will claim the series 4-1, becoming our LiuLi Cup 2025 Grand Finals champion. GG. GG, well played. Again, Maru, he had a very strong start here to the 3 racks. He killed 6 drones in the lead up to it. In the end, Serral did barely see the boys being pulled. He barely saw it, but again, he had sustained a lot of losses and he could not engage. Very careful play there by Maru, pushing in, started stepping back, picking off all the Zerglings. And again, there were no safety spine crawlers, there was no third queen, there was no backbone to the army here for Serral. GG. GG, well played. With that, Maru, he will claim the series and he will shut Serral down, becoming our champion. Congratulations. Congratulations here to Maru. And a lot of diversity as well. I say diversity, really just 2 of the extremes. We either saw all in, like we just saw now, going for the proxy, or hyper defensive turtle play out of Maru. And that's where he's at his best, right? That's where he's at his best. Those are the 2 extremes of Maru, is either turtling up very hard or cheesing the hell out of you. There's very little in between there for Maru, and he was able to excel and come out on top. I will say that it was very, very close, especially on, I'm still thinking about White Rabbits. Like, White Rabbit was still very, very close. Serral was doing a great job when it came to engaging and rotating and dying bases, until he got caught out, right? Until the Broodlords got caught. Like, that was the moments that that Maru was able to claim that series and to win that game. Maru, he was able to bob off, and GG. GG, well played. Congratulations. I want to say this is the first time that Maru has beaten Serral in years, right? Like, or ever. I know that the record is heavily in favor of Serral. Like, Serral has been the dominant player for a long time. So I just want to double check that. Let's have a look. When was the last time? I'm gonna hazard a guess and say last time Maru beat Serral was like 2021. Would it have been that long ago? Let's see. Let's see. Hold on, Wikipedia's dying on me. I need my Wikipedia back. Por favor. Yeah, Wikipedia's, it's not responding, unfortunately. But we can catch up on the bracket. We can catch up on the bracket regardless. You can see what's been going on, what's been happening. As you can see here, Maru had a strong showing. I would say that the biggest threat for Maru in this bracket was Clem, of course. Clem, I'm still thinking about that series. If you missed it earlier in the playoffs, Clem versus Maru, that could have gone either way, to be honest. Like, that could have been 3-2 in favor of Clem or 3-2 in favor of Maru. That was a very close, a very clutch series in the quarterfinals. Could have gone either way, and Maru did barely win that game, barely did win that series. And then we had a stronger showing here against Reynor, 3-0. The score does not really encapsulate how that series played out. Reynor, he was hyper aggressive and he was doing well for himself. He was ahead in almost every game against Maru. But what Reynor didn't do was embrace the later game. As in, Reynor, he would often stick and be stuck and stay with a more mid-tier composition, knocking down bases, but the moment that Maru started stabilizing, Reynor would still commit. He would still commit, he would not switch into Broodlords, he would not switch into a greater army, and in the end it killed Reynor, right? Like, Reynor, he had to slow things down, he wasn't quite able to. Serral, he was more willing to switch up into something like Broodlords at one time, but it only happened once, only in White Rabbit, and even then, got caught out. GG. GG, well played. Hold on, just checking the head-to-head here. Maru versus Serral. Alright. When was the last time Maru beat Serral? Let's have a look. So I beat him in LiuLi. Let's see here. The last time was, my assumption was like 2021. Fun fact. Yeah, kind of 2021. So they've played quite a lot. Serral, he had a 100% win rate in 2022. He had a 100% win rate in 2023. In 2024, technically Maru did win a best of 3, but it was a greater series and Serral did beat him in the rematch. So we had a bit of a back and forth at one time. But yeah, historically, Serral has had a, what, like an 80% win rate against Maru. It's crazy. Jesus, I didn't really, like, yeah. Throughout their entire career, actually. Maru, he's beat Serral 4 times. 4 times in like 8 years. And Serral, he's won every other time. Like, he's won like 15. It's crazy. So again, Serral, he often does have the dominant, or he is often the dominant player here. But Maru, he's able to win it out. Able to win it out here over Serral, able to embrace that late game, able to embrace kind of what he does best, of course, and forcing Serral and Reynor to kind of rethink their position here, and kind of look to restructure potentially their late game approach to ZVT. I think what's important about this as well is that no one else plays like Maru. Clem, alongside Bjorn, Cure, the other top Terran players in the world, they don't turtle up anywhere as near or as hard as Maru. So trying to practice against Maru is difficult because the other Terrans don't quite embrace the late game like this. Like, they can still have strong performances in the mid game, and that's often what they go for. They don't like slow the game down and turtle up as hard. So Maru, he's more unique in that respect. And GG. GG. And with that, we're going to be wrapping up. With that, we're going to be wrapping up here for the time being. Again, congratulations to Maru. Shout out to Serral for making it all the way to the finals, of course. And Maru showcasing his late game at TVZ prowess. Again, this is what he's been known for. This has been his speciality for a long time. For many, many years. Has been his speciality. And yeah, was able to flex that here against both Reynor and Serral. And hey, even in this tournament, we finally got Clem versus Maru. Clem versus Maru is the series that we have, is the series we've been waiting for years. It's been years we've been waiting for Clem versus Maru. We finally got it. It did live up to it. Did live up to the hype. I would still say one of the more entertaining series of this entire tournament, to be honest. Or this bracket, I should say, the playoffs. So if you miss it, I do recommend it. Do recommend Clem versus Maru. Otherwise, with that, we're going to be wrapping up here for the morning. We're going to be back later on this evening for Sparkling Tuna Cup. STC is going to be this evening in around 7 hours. 7 hours time is going to be Sparkling Tuna Cup. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. When it comes to the rest of our schedule, we finally wrapped up with LiuLi Cup, and we should be back. We should return with still more catch-up streams over the next 2 weeks. We have the Patch Clash Showdown. That's going to be tomorrow. We have the WarDTV Monday. We have Pegasus Cup. We have OSC Elite. That's going to be on Tuesday. We have more Pegasus Cup, some more StarCraft Evolution. Again, SC Evo is something that we've been missing out on in recent times, but we should finally catch up this week. This week, we're catching up on StarCraft Evolution, Code for Giants Cup as well. We have some 2v2 show matches, the Thermals 2v2 circuit. We're finally caught up with all the big premier events. Now we can catch up with everything else leading into RSL. Remember, the RSL, the rival StarCraft League, they also have begun their group stage, and we'll be covering the playoffs at the end of the month. At the end of March, we'll be there. We'll be there for the playoffs. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for watching. Thank you for tuning in. We do appreciate it. And we'll see you guys later on tonight in 7 hours for the Tuna Cup, for the Sparkling Tuna Cup. We'll see you guys tomorrow for some more StarCraft for the Patch Clash Showdown. Is this that latest big tournament? Technically, yes. There is another similarly sized tournament that just took place, which is Pigsty, right? The Pigsty Festival. That was last weekend. And we have the WarDTV Winter Championship as well. Those two events are slightly smaller than LiuLi Cup and Thunderfire, so technically smaller, but still like considered premier events, just because they do feature the best players in the world, right? They feature Maru, Serral, Reynor, Clem, MaxPax, Hero, Classic, Showtime. Like, all the best players are typically in those events. But we're catching up. And we should be fully caught up over the next 2 weeks when it comes to events that we missed out on. And after we catch up, then we can start to slow things down a little bit. Right now, we've been casting a lot over the past month to play that kind of catch-up game. Then we can slow things down and take a bit of a breather. Still casting once a day, but it should only be like once a day sort of thing. But otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks so much for the support, and we'll see you guys later on tonight or tomorrow for some more StarCraft. If you want to support us in other ways, you can do so via Patreon. !Patreon in the chat. You can support us there. That does fund our tournaments on a regular basis. Likewise, you can follow us on YouTube. We do upload to YouTube on a daily basis. Plenty of content over on YouTube. Plenty to see, plenty to experience, plenty to watch. We have more content than anyone else out there. More than Wardy, more than Winter, more than Steadfast, more than anyone else. We have all the content, the StarCraft, the VODs. The StarCraft. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next time. Until then, ciao, papi, ciao. Hasta luego. See you next time.